Testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Testing, testing. Good evening and welcome to episode 16 of Loomer Unleashed. I'm your host, Laura Loomer. On Monday, a widespread cyber attack targeted critical infrastructure all across the West. Here in America, water supply plants in major cities, the power grid, and a number of websites, including Rumble, were all struck. This cyber assault was traced back to a hacking group affiliated with the Chinese Communist government. If this small attack was able to successfully infiltrate critical infrastructure and shut down a number of major websites, imagine what a massive, full-scale cyber warfare attack would look like. Unfortunately, it is likely to happen, and the United States is not prepared for it. At every moment of every day, dozens of cyber attacks are actively occurring. Criminals, often based in India or China, persistently probe the online defenses of major bank corporations and government websites. They methodically search for a weak link in the armor, a window for them to break in to steal important data, and even wrest control of key online systems and infrastructure databases. Countering many of these requires only a strong firewall, but as these attacks become more sophisticated, our ability to defend against them diminishes rapidly. Nations like China, Russia, and Iran have vast quantities of money and resources that they devote to cyber warfare programs, each of which has access to the latest technology. And we know that in the event of a major conflict, the Chinese government would deploy whatever cyber assets they have to damage the United States of America. According to Representative Carlos Jimenez, who was featured in an interview on Fox News this week, and of course he's a member of the House Cybersecurity Committee on China, China has prepared an all-out cyber attack should we ever come to the blows over Taiwan. This opening salvo would undoubtedly be aimed directly at our most crucial infrastructure. What is frightening about this is just how susceptible we are in the United States of America to such an attack. Over the past 2 decades, our lives have become increasingly reliant on technology. Think of how intertwined you are with your devices. Nearly everyone has a cell phone on them at all times. Much of their life is contained within these devices. Their messages, calls, their schedule, their bank accounts, their social media accounts, their music, their videos, their books, their notes, their information pertaining to their job, their family photos, and so much more. All of this information is stored on your smartphone. It's like a little mini computer in your pocket. Think of how different that has made our lives even since the year 2000. You know, we used to have address books and answering machines and photo albums and camcorders. And my favorite when I was a kid was the Walkman CD player that I brought with me everywhere I went. But all of that is now contained in our pocket-sized devices. Just imagine how hard it would be to return to those old days. Probably impossible. Technology has certainly made life more convenient, but it has also made us that much more vulnerable. That is just the most basic inconvenience that a cyber attack could bring. Consider what would unfold should China actually succeed in knocking out our already frail power grid. A serious attack could plunge the nation into darkness for weeks on end. Imagine how devastating that would be in the dead of winter or the dog days of summer. It is not a stretch to say that hundreds of thousands of Americans could freeze to death because of an attack originating on the internet. Then picture, of course, the absolute chaos that would ensue in our cities should the power fail for even a single day. This has already happened, by the way, a few times prior in places like New York City. In both 2003 and 1977, a few hours without electricity led to massive riots, lootings, and murder all over. If the power grid were to fail for something like 2 weeks or even longer, then multiply that damage and that chaos by 100. Even the most close-knit communities would begin fraying after 2 weeks of no water, backed up sewage, no access to ATMs, no trash pickup, spoiling food, no communication, and emergency services would be in complete disarray. It would unironically be the end of the world as we know it. And if that weren't severe enough, consider that a cyber attack could totally cripple the ability of our country to respond to threats. When the power plants are exploding, when water plants are shutting down, and when communications are failing, I can promise you that our attention will not be on Taiwan. Moreover, there are concerns about whether even our military could survive a cyber attack. Significant amounts of tech that go into our most advanced aircraft and weapons platforms are literally made in China. So who's to say that the Chinese didn't intentionally embed a backdoor or some kind of weakness into our equipment so that they could hack it, right? So that they could compromise it. Not to mention how many U.S. officials, politicians, and military officials are using iPhones and other Apple devices like MacBooks and iPads to communicate in their personal and professional lives. Did you know that approximately 90% of iPhones are produced and manufactured in China? If not, then now you know. Additionally, how many of you or your children are on TikTok, an app created by the Chinese Communist Party to brainwash the youth? Did you know that installing TikTok on your phone is the same as installing Chinese spyware on your cell phone? This is why in January of 2020, the United States Army and Navy banned TikTok on government devices after the Defense Department labeled it a security risk. Millions of Americans have already been hacked or they're at risk of being hacked and they don't even know it. The threat posed by cyber warfare is very real and it's escalating, especially with the rise of AI, artificial intelligence. Although not all attacks need to be large to have devastating effects. Consider the current broken state of elections here in America. A majority of Americans cast their vote using some sort of machine in person, whether it be to count ballots or a completely electronic poll. This will create a massive vulnerability, as it already has, wherein the Chinese, or maybe it's the Iranians who have already tried this in the past, they could potentially hack our next presidential election. And we can be sure that President Xi Jinping would rather see feckless Joe Biden be reelected as opposed to Donald Trump, who would once again take a hardline stance on China. It is not out of the realm of possibility that the Chinese government could remotely influence the outcome of our next election simply through hacking into our voting machines. The question then becomes, is America prepared to face these new and evolving threats from our competitors around the world? Warfare is changing right before our eyes. Just look at Ukraine, for example, where inexpensive drones have completely nullified million-dollar tanks. We are living in an age where artificial intelligence, informational warfare, and cyber warfare are going to reshape the way we imagine conflict. And so ask yourself this. If our tired old leadership in Washington, D.C. is so old that they don't even know how to utilize new technology and they have a bunch of young aides doing it for them, right? We have so many geriatrics up in Washington, D.C. who are really not even up to date with all of the evolving technology and artificial intelligence and the threats that this poses to our grid. Are these people really up to the challenge of changing with the times? With someone like Joe Biden in office, the chances are very slim.
There is a young female journalist, conservative journalist, by the name of Laura Loomer.
If America's men acted like Laura Loomer, our problems would be fixed in about 5 minutes.
Chained herself to
She
Twitter.
chained herself.
So welcome everybody to episode 16 of Loomer Unleashed. We have a lot to talk about tonight. I'm sure all of you saw this week, or maybe you didn't because there's just been so much chaos, right? There's just never-ending chaos in this country, it seems. But you probably heard about it. As I just told you in the monologue, there were cyber attacks. There was widespread cyber attacks all across our country this week by the Chinese. And we have some articles to run through tonight, and we'll show you some of this information. But all over, right? Even Washington Post. You have left-wing media now finally admitting this, that Chinese hackers are targeting U.S. infrastructure, and we are not prepared. right? Surprise, surprise, right? We're not prepared. And I'm pretty sure our adversaries in China, they know this. And what's interesting is that when Xi Jinping came to the United States a couple of weeks ago and met with people like Gavin Newsom and Joe Biden, reportedly, Joe Biden didn't have any conversations with Xi Jinping about Chinese hacking into our infrastructure here in the United States. So you would think that that would be something that Biden would have a hardline stance on and would address with Xi Jinping, but apparently he really just doesn't seem to care about our infrastructure, which has been crumbling and deteriorating at a very rapid rate under the illegitimate Biden regime. You can see here this tweet today from Washington Post. The Chinese military is ramping up its ability to disrupt key American infrastructure, including power and water utilities, as well as communications and transportation systems, according to U.S. officials and industry security officials. So there you have Biden with Xi Jinping. And yeah, look, Chinese Communist flag at the White House, Chinese Communist flags all over San Francisco. So got a Chinese Communist flag in the gator mouth tonight too. So, but this is really serious because remember when everybody was freaking out a couple months ago when we had the Chinese spy balloon flying over America and Joe Biden didn't really do anything about it. And people were like, when are you going to shoot this spy balloon down? And there were talks about how, oh, well, we can't just have, we can't have the military shoot down a spy balloon because it's going to instigate conflict with China, when really it should have been like, well, why the hell is China flying a spy balloon over the United States of America? First of all, they instigated the conflict. And it just seems like ever since the stolen election, right? When we elected President Donald Trump for the first term in his first administration, he was very hard on China. He had a tough stance on China. And even now on the campaign trail again, right? That's a pillar of his Agenda 47 campaign platform. And yet that, in my opinion, is probably like one of the biggest differences between Joe Biden and Donald Trump, right? Is not only their foreign policy, but how they handle China. And we didn't have these issues under President Trump. We just didn't. This is from NBC News. No detail too small how the U.S. and China planned President Xi's visit. And I'm sure if you've been watching Loomer Unleashed over the last few weeks, you saw the clip that we played where you had Xi Jinping. I believe we have that clip too. We can pull it up because I just want to remind you all. I know I play this clip often, but this is a power flex. This is a power flex by China against the United States of America. This clip from a couple weeks ago when Xi Jinping met with Joe Biden and the car that was driving Xi Jinping almost ran over a U.S. Marine. And this was intentional, obviously, because, if you're going to be driving a head of state, you're obviously going to be a professional driver. And so this was their way of saying, we don't respect you. We don't have any respect for the U.S. military. We don't have any respect for the Marines. We don't have any respect for Joe Biden. And we're going to humiliate you and your country in front of the entire world. So go ahead and watch this clip, because I think that this was a clip that was kind of underrated in the sense that the media didn't show it enough. But this is, in my opinion, just a perfect example of how far we've fallen as a country, especially in the eyes of a communist dictator like Xi Jinping. Go ahead and play the clip.
Ready, two. Ready. We're in. Open the door. Ready. Doors. Ready. Pop. Ready. Ready. Close. Ready. Done.
So hopefully you all saw that. I think you caught that. But look, we are at risk of having our elections interfered in again. And a lot of people talk about this, right? What would happen if we had some type of EMP? What would happen if China initiated an EMP through a balloon or some type of attack, right? It would destroy our grid, and we are not prepared as a country to handle a massive attack on our grid. See, China advances EMP weapons, military analyst report reveals. Scroll down. This is a report from September. Scroll up. Chinese military researchers have made significant advances in developing and testing strategic electromagnetic pulse, or EMP, weapons that can disable electronics on U.S. warplanes and even entire military bases, according to a report. So our grid is wide open. It's not protected. The U.S. government has already confirmed that we are not prepared to withstand an EMP attack. And so if China wanted to attack Taiwan, all they would have to do is initiate an EMP, and our focus is not going to be on Taiwan. They would be able to completely destabilize our military bases and our entire country. Our entire country would go into chaos, and we would have massive riots in the streets of America if this were to happen. And so tonight I have a really special guest. I'm going to have Kash Patel. He's going to be joining us soon. A lot of you know Kash Patel from when he served in President Trump's first administration. He's a National Security Council official, was a senior advisor to the acting director of national intelligence and the chief of staff to the acting U.S. Secretary of Defense during the Trump administration. And of course, his name has been floated as somebody who will probably be in the next administration. I'm not going to say what position, right? Because we all saw the Trump campaign's recent statement. They don't want people talking about, hypothetical positions being filled. But I believe we have Kash connected now. And this is somebody who I greatly admire. He's one of the few Trump loyalists. There's people out there who worked in the administration and they still have it in their bio on X, or they have it in their bio on LinkedIn, and yet they've sold President Trump out and they've used his name to advance professionally. And one of the people that I respect who's actually remained loyal to President Trump and stood by his side throughout all of these attacks by the deep state is my friend Kash Patel. So Kash, thank you so much for making time to come on my show, Loomer Unleashed. How are you?
Hey, it's so great to be with you. Thanks for having me on the show, and congrats on all the success. I hear it's a rager for the MAGA movement, so you must be doing something right.
Yeah, it is definitely taking off. I really am blessed in that sense, and have a lot of really great guests like yourself, and people just want the truth. People are sick and tired of the gaslighting. And, I think that people are finally realizing that the Republican Party has nothing but, and I'll just say it, but a load of bullshit that they're selling the American people on a daily basis. I mean, look what they just did today. How many times do we need to talk about the danger of weaponized government? You wrote an entire book about it. I mean, I've read your book. You gave me a signed copy, Government Gangsters, and it's all about, the threat of these FISA courts and the deep state, and yet Republicans have not learned their lesson. We had a president get arrested, his home raided by the FBI, J6ers, Trump supporters, Trump administration officials targeted. And it's like, you see today, these Republicans then voting on the National Defense Authorization Act without removing the expansion and the extension and the funding for FISA. I mean, how does this make you feel as somebody who's been pretty much screaming at the top of their lungs about this, and as somebody who, has had direct experience with the deep state? I mean, what do you think about what just happened today?
Look, it reinforces my firm belief that the deep state can only be crushed by one individual, and that's Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And when he launched my book, Government Gangsters, and called it the blueprint for 2024, I was extremely humbled. But he was my inspiration to write it. He said, look, don't just write your story. Tell us how to fix government. And having been this issue today, I mean, it couldn't be more perfect for government gangsters. Having been the chief of staff at DOD, and like you and many other strong conservatives, I want our DOD fully funded. I don't want our defense industrial complex to own Washington, D.C. like they do currently. That's another conversation. But then we have the swamp monsters in D.C. in Congress, including Republicans, come in and say, oh, we're just going to jam this 702 FISA provision into the NDAA. And just, for those of you that don't know, it has nothing to do with DOD. It has everything to do with law enforcement. And what they want to do is say, oh, if you voted against the NDAA, you voted against funding the Department of Defense. And too many rhinos and uniparty Republicans on the Hill fell for it because they're owned by the defense industrial complex and other lobbyists out there. But just to break down 702, this isn't complex. Look, I was chief investigator for Russiagate. Devin Nunes and I exposed the FBI corruption, and we outlined a plan 5 years ago for Congress to say, hey, When this expires in 5 years, here's how to fix it. Here's 15 things you can do. And they waited until the last second. And what did we find out just last year? Chris Wray at the FBI used FISA. Remember what the F stands for FISA? Foreign intelligence. Chris Wray used it 274,000 times illegally to surveil domestic Americans, 24,000 of which had an affiliation to January 6th, 19,000 of which were donors to a congressional candidacy for the U.S. House of Representatives. I'll let you guess which Republican or Democratic Party they were a part of. The point is, we could have walled all this off, and we just rewarded Chris Wray and the government gangsters that broke the law with what they call a clean authorization that will allow them to rig future elections and unlawfully surveil us, America First Americans.
Well, and on top of that, too, the reason why this is so devastating, and I don't think that it's really hit a lot of people yet, we're going to lose control of the House of Representatives in the middle of the 2024 presidential election. I mean, right now, we're now going to have a 1-seat majority with the retirement of people like Kevin McCarthy and Bill Johnson and others. And you had another Republican today announce that he's retiring. Luckily, he's waiting till the end of his term. But then Republicans were so stupid, they ousted George Santos and they diminished their very slim majority as it is. All it's going to take, Kash, is one of these geriatric Republicans to slip and fall or have some kind of accident or, I don't know, die in their sleep, which seems to be like a regular occurrence up on Capitol Hill these days with all these, members staying in till they literally croak. And then the Democrats are going to take control of the House. And I don't think anyone's really talking about this. One seat is all it's going to take. One. You could have them slip and fall over the break. They could have a stroke. You never know. And then we're going to have Speaker Hakeem Jeffries and then, FISA funded and expanded. I mean, what do you think, what kind of threat, if the Democrats are able to take back control of the House before the 2024 presidential election, how do you think this plays out? And how is it going to impact the election, especially as it relates to Donald Trump amid all these trials?
Well, to me, this might sound a little counterintuitive, but as bad as it would be to have the Democrats and the Speaker Hakeem Jeffries, you know what's worse? When Republicans have the majority and don't do the job of the American people. Yeah. We've been in power for a year. And what did we just see today? Hunter Biden go up to Capitol Hill and spike the football like the crybaby millionaire Hollywood bought and paid for kid that he is, with daddy in the White House ready to give him a pardon, and break the law. He literally tore up a congressional subpoena, essentially, and said, I'm not testifying. That's illegal. Wind the clock back to the Unselect Committee of January 6th. Remember when Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon violated a congressional subpoena? They got prosecuted in federal court. Where is the Republican contempt of Congress proceedings that should have been implemented right now? Why are you guys going home? Look, and a lot of these people are my friends. Don't go home. Wait a few more days and get the job done for the American people so we can come back in the new year ready to go on not just a Joe Biden impeachment inquiry, but on people who are breaking the law, like Merrick Garland, like Christopher Wray, who have violated 6 congressional subpoenas and failed to produce the documents to the American people because a Republican majority has ceded constitutional oversight. So it doesn't even matter if we're in the majority. I mean, look at this bill today.
Absolutely.
I want the NDAA because I want DOD funded, but I don't want unlawful surveillance on Americans. Didn't we learn anything from Russia? They tried to kneecap Donald Trump, and they just gave him a gift wrap for Christmas of another FISA collection authority to kneecap him again in the next election cycle.
And it's important to remind people, that in 2020, right before the transition of power in January of 2021, Republicans did the same exact thing when President Trump wanted them to veto. Remember when he wanted them to completely he didn't want the NDAA to go through because he didn't want them to allocate funding for the changing of the names of our military bases, if you recall. And then also he wanted them to repeal Section 230 so that we could try to address big tech and their foreign election interference and their efforts to work with the intelligence agencies to illegally interfere in our elections. And the Republicans let him down on his way out. They again went against his wishes, and they always do this. It's always the National Defense Authorization Act where the Republicans show their true colors. And they did did it again today. We have a wide open border. Okay, we have Hamas and Hezbollah terror cells, and I know that, working with the National Security Council and working as close as you did with President Trump, you had access to this classified information, and so you're very aware of the fact that we have active Hamas and Hezbollah terror cells in America. And yet, what do? They don't allocate $600 million to secure our border, combat jihad in America. They just gave another $600 million today to Ukraine. They just snuck it inside. What do you think about that?
Look, I am a big national security guy. And when we secure our country and our interests, then I'm all for giving to others in need, because there are others in need overseas. But like you just said, when we have a border that has let in 10 million illegal immigrants since Joe Biden took office, and when you have Chris Wray's FBI admit to the world that at least 24 of them are foreign known terrorists that they can't find, how many people got in that they don't know about at all, since they're letting in 50,000 a week? That's the scary part to me. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and their affiliates are very patient. They did this during 9/11. They will embed themselves in American society. They will go to our schools. They will go eat at our restaurants and come work in our communities. And then they will commit a heinous attack like a 9/11 style attack. That's my greatest fear. And this NDAA, as big and robust as it is, we can't give away, I'll just give you one example, 7 years worth of surface-to-air missiles. We've given away 7 years worth of missiles to the Ukraine. What does that mean? That if we stopped right now and produced for 7 straight years, then we, the United States of America, would be back to zero. What happens when, say, a war breaks out in Israel and they want SAMs?
Well, also, it's funny. It's interesting because you said these people are embedded, right? They're embedded in the halls of Congress. I mean, we actually have jihadists serving in Congress, Kash. We have Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. I mean, this is not even a laughing matter. As throughout my time as an investigative journalist, documented their ties to ISIS, Hamas, the Muslim Brotherhood. I mean, Ilhan Omar has actual ties to mosques in her district in Minnesota, where the FBI has identified the highest number of Muslim men who traveled overseas as recruits to join ISIS, okay? And she's endorsed by the imam of this mosque, the Dar al-Farouk Islamic Center, okay? So these people have open associations. She was a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee in Congress, getting classified information. God only knows, who she gave this information to. And then we also have this guy, a full-blown jihadi. I don't know what you think about this guy, Maher Battar, who was appointed by Joe Biden. Unfortunately, being banned on social media for years. When I did my expose on him, the very first day of the transition of power, I'm like, does anybody care to address the fact that Joe Biden just appointed an Islamic jihadist to oversee our intel, which is probably one of the reasons why there was such a massive intel failure? I don't know if you agree when it comes to the October 7 attack in Israel.
Well, the reason I said that it was everybody's like, how did we miss it? How did Israel miss it? We didn't miss it. We weren't looking for it. The difference between Donald Trump and Joe Biden was simple. Donald Trump said tier 1 priorities for intelligence collection are Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran, nonstop 24/7. Joe Biden comes in and says tier 1 intelligence collection priorities are climate change, global warming, whatever they're calling it these days.
MAGA domestic extremists.
and white rage, whatever that. No, but
yeah.
We joke about it. But seriously, as good as our men and women are in the intel community, and there's a ton that are still awesome, if their leadership says you have to look at Y and not X anymore, you're going to miss World War III. And Maher Battar and I go way back. He was general counsel for Watermelon Head during Russiagate when I was running the Russiagate investigation for Chairman Devin Nunes. This guy allowed and helped Adam Schiff put out false information and lies, the biggest one going to a podium and saying, I have seen the classified evidence where Donald Trump's a Russian asset. Well, that envelope was blank because there was no evidence to prove that because he wasn't. But the mainstream media latched onto this. And now this guy's running the intel programs. And it's worse. You've seen a photo of him. You guys have done great reporting on it. Maher Battar is actually in a pro-Palestinian movement, which is okay, fine, whatever. But behind him is a sign that says we must support Israeli apartheid or something like that. I mean, this guy has access to the most sensitive classified information, and he is setting the command structure for Joe Biden's White House on what intel to prioritize. And we're surprised that he actually, or the Biden administration missed this. They weren't looking.
No, well, it was all well documented in the sense that people knew about this. I mean, if I'm able to figure this out as an independent journalist, why is it that, people that are supposed to be doing vetting for the administration and, hiring people who are going to have access to classified information? It's even worse than that. He was a member of SJP, Students for Justice in Palestine, when he was a student at Georgetown or GWU, I believe. And we have a report about this on my website, loomer.com. And you're absolutely correct. In these groups, we know that they are financially tied to Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood, our own Holy Land Foundation terrorism trial here in the United States, right? We already identified these groups as having financial ties to Islamic terrorists. So I think that it's really concerning, and it's not a conspiracy theory. When you look at people like Robert Malley and Maher Battar, we have actual Islamic jihadists and Islamic jihadi sympathizers in key positions in the Biden administration. Wouldn't you agree?
I'll give you another example, and I'm sure you've heard of her in your incredible reporting. Ariana Tatabay, who was Robert Malley's basically protege. Remember, Robert Malley, the special envoy for Iran, right now has been fired by the Joe Biden administration because of mishandling of classified information, yet Congress won't go and get the details of what that means. This guy who wrote the JCPOA for Obama and Biden had the top Iran spot. We are in war basically with allies of ours, Israel, in Iran and Hamas, and he gets kicked out. His protege is right now the head of special operations chief of staff at the Department of Defense. Do you know what she did? While she was in America, she actually contacted and emailed, you don't have to believe me, Revolver did some great reporting on this too, where she emailed the Iranian Foreign Ministry asking essentially for permission if it was okay to take a pro-American position some years ago. And we reported all this to the DOD. They evaluated and said, we're going to let her keep her TS-SCI classified security clearance and her post over there. These aren't coincidences anymore. And you can classify these people however you want to. The main thing for me is that they are not looking at America's best interest with Americans first, like Donald Trump wants them to, like Donald Trump had him stacked in the White House and will again. And that's the critical difference for me, that these people keep getting promotions for their screw ups in government because Joe Biden's in charge.
Yeah, and we need President Trump back in office. He's going to make America safe again. And we wouldn't be having these tensions right now with Ukraine and Russia. We wouldn't be having this war between Israel and Hamas if President Trump was back in the White House. We certainly wouldn't have key administration officials operating spy rings with Iranians if President Trump was back in the White House. I want to go ahead and play this clip for you. It's a clip of Klaus Schwab. You saw in my monologue earlier, I was talking about the cyber attacks that we had this week from China and just how vulnerable our grid is right now. And really, the government has not prepared Americans for this. It'd be complete disarray. No one's talking about how all it would take is another one of these Chinese spy balloons to, initiate an EMP, and then boom, there goes the 2024 presidential election. I think that this is the next step. We already know that they intentionally created a bioweapon in the form of COVID and unleashed it in the middle of our election to, in my opinion, I mean, I don't know what you think about it, but I truly believe that it was a bioweapon to try to interfere in our election in 2020. And I think that this is what the World Economic Forum and people like Klaus Schwab and all these globalists and communists have in store for 2024. So watch this clip and I want to get your opinion on it.
Pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
Look, that guy, his number one advisor is this guy called Yuval Harari, who happens to be Obama's top senior advisor on the quiet. They have always been advocating for the degradation of America and the rise of globalism. So it's no surprise that he is now talking about these grid attacks. Look, when I was Deputy Director of National Intelligence, we tried to harden our infrastructure because President Trump said, hey, these things can be hit pretty easily because we haven't upgraded them in 50 years. That's not classified. China knows that. Russia knows that. Our enemies know that. Al-Qaeda knows that. And if they were to knock out even just one of our main electrical hubs, it would literally shut down a third of the geographic United States of America. And no one seems to find that to be a national security issue except Donald Trump. And when he tried to harden the infrastructure, they said, oh, no, it's going to take too long. It's going to take too much money. You know what's too much money? $1.4 billion in the Ukraine. We could have hardened half our infrastructure for that cost in a 2-year period, and we would be ready to go and counter the CCP's malign influence campaign that they have continued to shell at us while Joe Biden bends the knee and looks the other way. And I just want to circle back to one thing on Iran, because I just can't let this go. Hamas is a foreign terrorist organization. Not because I said so, because the United States government said so. You know who else is a foreign terrorist organization? The Houthis, the guys in Yemen who are Iran proxy group that fired missiles at a United States ship of war in the Red Sea. Donald Trump labeled and designated the Houthis a foreign terrorist organization. You know what Joe Biden did in month 1 of his administration? Rescinded that designation. The Houthis are no longer a foreign terrorist organization because they wanted to provide them humanitarian aid. And look, I'll be the first one to tell you, having been over there, Yemen's got a lot of people in need. But foreign terrorist organizations must be taken out before we take care of the people and the innocents in their country. That's just the way they set it up, like Iran, like the Quds Force, like the IRGC, and the Ayatollah. The only thing they want to do is American harm. And I bet you Iran's looking at our infrastructure and our grid systems and saying, hey, Joe Biden just gave us $6 billion. What can we do to hurt America?
He gave them $16 billion. After the 6, he gave them another 10. After October 7th. I mean, it's really crazy to think that this Wall Street Journal report comes out confirming the fact that the Iranians were training Hamas and Hezbollah operatives, about 500 of them, including the paragliders who went into that music festival and brutally murdered all of those innocent people. And then even after knowing this, what does he do? He unfreezes another $10 billion. So it's out of control. It's completely out of control. And I don't know if Joe Biden just wants to eradicate all Jews, if he just wants to, completely embolden jihadists, because as President Trump says, and he's absolutely correct, Barack Hussein Obama is the one who's really calling the shots right now. So I wouldn't even be surprised if, they push Biden aside, because obviously this guy's in, rapid mental decline, and maybe they'll put Michelle Obama up. Maybe they'll put Gavin Newsom, or maybe it will be an Obama Newsom ticket. I'm still deciding, trying to debate in my mind whether it's going to be Gavin Newsom or Michelle Obama, right? But we already know that Barack Hussein Obama is calling the shots, which is why we saw this kind of Islamic Reformation movement and a complete cleanse of all counterterrorism tactics during the Obama administration, where they said, you're not allowed to call things Islamic terrorism. You're not allowed to refer to them as Islamic terrorists, right? And he completely normalized embracing these people. And he's the reason why none of the people, especially the Hamas and Muslim Brotherhood operatives who were found to be providing material support to Hamas in the Holy Land Foundation trial, people forget this. It was Obama and Eric Holder who basically exonerated all of them and said, all right, whatever, you're supporting Hamas and the Muslim Brotherhood, we're just going to let you go. People forget about this.
When I was a terrorism prosecutor, even in the Obama administration, great prosecutors like Johnny Ratcliffe, who go be Trump's DNI, prosecuted the Holy Land Foundation case. We prosecuted terrorists. You know where we had the largest number of prosecutions outside of New York and America? Minnesota. Because of their direct links to Al-Shabaab and Al-Qaeda. And
that's why I brought it up with Ilhan Omar. That's what I'm talking about. Her district is, according to the FBI, and I hate to even, cite the FBI, but these are statistics even dating back 10 years, and it still remained the same. The number 1 ISIS recruitment location in the entire United States of America is Minneapolis, Minnesota 5, which is Ilhan Omar's district.
Look, and it's just a fact. We prosecuted terrorists in Minnesota, in that district, exponentially greater than anywhere else in America. And that's not to degrade all the Somalis that are out there who are seeking the American dream. I'm an immigrant. My parents did it. So many others are doing it. But when you allow that to fester and you allow representatives that are dangerous to American national security, like Ilhan Omar and like the other lady you mentioned, the problem is you give them a bully pulpit and then you make it shameful almost for Americans and the rest of the country to stand up for American values, because they'll come out and yell at you and say, oh, you're the racist. What do you mean you're the racist? What do you mean Donald Trump's the racist? Last time I checked, Donald Trump made this brown guy the chief of staff to the Department of Defense the first time in U.S. history. Obama didn't do that. Bush didn't do that. Biden didn't do that. Donald Trump put in the best man or woman for the job when it came to national security posts. And that's what we need again. We need soldiers, we need generals and admirals that will follow a commander in chief and not bend like Mark Milley just so he can keep his job in the Biden administration and care more about white rage. If Milley spent half as much time securing the defense of this nation as he did leaking to the CCP, calling his counterparts illegally and warning them of a possible Donald Trump invasion, whatever that even meant, we would have a much better military. And look, the men and women in DOD are amazing. Our Joint Chiefs of Staff and the GOFO Republic, as we call them, the flag officers, have become so corrupted like the rest of the people in Congress, or the majority of them, that all they care about is their next promotion, their next star, their next title, and their next job outside of government in the defense industrial complex. And that's one of the things we have to meet out. And I think President Trump has the best policies going forward, barring the whole lobbyists from going out there and working in the lobbyist industry. If you want to serve in government, it's a privilege. It's not a paycheck to get your, $1 million bankroll when you leave. That's a different lifestyle. If you want that, go do that. But Donald Trump attracted great Americans to fill these national security positions, and they're afraid, the whole swamp's afraid, that Donald Trump will come in and do what they never could: end all the forever wars, secure the border, kill the terrorists, destroy the drug cartels, and stop human trafficking. I mean, what American doesn't want that? What American doesn't want to see another child die from a CCP fentanyl overdose? That is an apolitical issue.
Absolutely. And you know what? That leads to my next question, Kash, because we see that new polls today, the incredible polling shows that, and this was a Bloomberg poll, so it's not like this is, they can't say that this is a right-wing poll, right? Oh, that's President Trump's polling company. Oh, they have so many excuses. President Trump, according to this Bloomberg poll, is now beating Joe Biden by between 4 to 6 points in every single key state. And the Real Clear Politics poll also has the national average trending the same way as well. So these polls have been, confirmed and backed up by others as well. And so with that, right, it kind of just begs the question, and we talked about this on a couple episodes ago of my show. If they can't stop Trump by jailing him, if they can't stop Trump by indicting him and arresting him and having all these ridiculous, court hearings and whatnot, because every time he goes to court or gets arrested, he shoots up another 10 points in the polls. Their whole experiment with Ron DeSanctimonious failed. Nikki Haley, no one wants a warmonger. So now they're trying to greenlight assassination. And I hate to talk about this, but I think it's something that we really need to address, because this is something I found to be super disturbing. There was an article in the Washington Post about a week or so ago, and it was written by a guy named Robert Kagan. And we can pull it up right now. And it was the title of it was The Trump Dictatorship, How to Stop It.
I'm familiar.
And they photoshopped Trump's face over Julius Caesar. And we already know that they assassinated Julius Caesar. But what a lot of people don't know about this, and what I find to be most disturbing, is Robert Kagan is literally married to Victoria Nuland, the queen of color revolutions at the State Department under the Obama administration and the Biden administration. And so you can see here, for people watching, we have the article up on the full screen. Scroll up and show the photo they have. Oh, I guess it's like blocked out. But the photo, if you look at it online, it's the Washington Post paywall. You can see that it's a photo of Trump's face with Julius Caesar. And we'll go back to the full screen with Kash now. But we know that Victoria Nuland staged color revolutions in Ukraine for the State Department. We now know that Ukrainian spy operatives participated in the January 6th protests because the FBI actually interrogated certain J6 defendants about Ukrainian spies. My reporting has, been picked up by even mainstream media on this matter, and the FBI didn't deny it. So what is stopping them from trying to, carry out some type of assassination to have their own regime change here in the United States of America? Because that's really what they want. They want regime change, and it's not going to happen until they kill Trump. Let's just be honest. That's what they want.
They want a political end to Donald Trump because they see that it's going to destroy their way of life. And, I'm not too familiar with a lot of Victoria Nuland stuff, but the one thing I am familiar with is Victoria Nuland was one of the authors of the Russiagate hoax. She was a senior level State Department employee in Hillary Clinton's State Department who worked with Sidney Blumenthal to shovel the Russiagate Steele dossier, bought and paid for dirt to the FBI, put a stamp of credibility on it that was totally bogus, and slide it over to say, we need to investigate Donald Trump. That's all I need to know about Victoria Nuland, and she's back in power in the State Department. So these people, and she's married to Robert Kagan, who's writing these articles. And while they stopped short of calling for a physical end to Donald Trump, what they will say is they want to permanently end Donald Trump's ability to be the president of the United States because he endangers their ability to have a radical left-wing agenda succeed, to have the Yuval Hararis of the world and Klaus Schwab's and the World Economic Forum rule the day. And if he is successful, which I believe President Trump will be, and whatever these polls say, I'm always the guy who is telling people as the polls go up, we got to fight harder. Because what they want us to do is lull us into a false sense of security to say, oh, Trump's going to win by so much that we really don't need to show up at the polls. And we got to go the opposite way. We can't fall for their basically mental games of trying to keep us at home because they see they don't have a single better policy than Donald Trump does on anything. Healthcare, education, national security, what have you, the economy, nothing. Joe Biden is not going to put forth a better plan. We are not going to get out of recession before the end of 2024. And they see all these things. So now they're resorting to scare tactics and hyperbole. And the one thing I learned from Donald Trump and Devin Nunes and other guys is once they start the rhetoric shell game, you're over the target. And that's what they're turning to right now. And I'm with you. I don't know that Joe Biden's going to be the nominee. I actually think they're going to use the Hunter Biden off-ramp to force him to pardon his kid and airmail in like a Gavin Newsom or whoever.
Or
but
Michelle,
I think we just have to keep pumping Donald Trump's successes, his Agenda 47. In that piece where they say, oh, he's a dictator. When did he act like a dictator? Did he hijack the United States military and keep power? No. Did he hijack control of the intelligence community and direct them to do X, Y, or Z? No. He let the professionals he put in charge execute his national security policy. And what they're doing, they're being the tyrannical dictators in the media by scaring Americans into believing Donald Trump might actually be one, which is totally
I was just about to say, if Donald Trump's a dictator, what is Joe Biden? Having his political opposition arrested, locking up J6ers, stealing elections. I mean, just the cognitive dissonance that these people have. It's just so funny to me. If Trump's a dictator, then what the hell is Joe Biden? I mean, really, honestly, that is a true dictator, if we're being honest, in the actual definition of the word dictator. I wanted to ask you, though, because I do find that this connection between Kagan and his wife, Victoria Nuland, I find it to be disturbing because it shows now that they're, in my opinion, they're trying to greenlight assassination. And so what do you think about this? I personally think Victoria Nuland and her husband should both have to resign from their positions. I think that it's extremely disturbing and it's not getting the media attention it deserves that a State Department senior official is married to somebody who just wrote an article in one of the probably like most notorious mainstream media publications in the entire country, essentially greenlighting assassination. I just think that this is really abhorrent from the Biden administration because you know that they knew about this. They wouldn't have published something like that without her seeing it and without the Biden administration seeing it first. This was coordinated. Any
call for violence, whether it's sort of behind the scenes or coded in Washington's Post speak, is abhorrent and it's absolutely uncalled for. And if they're pivoting to that, they know that the mainstream media, CNN and MSNBC, and those guys will cover it because they'll focus on the words, oh, Trump's a dictator, and they'll gloss over the fact that some people might read into that violence of some sort is okay. And it's not. It's never okay. But if it's the left that's calling for any sort of campaign against Donald Trump, they seem to want to justify it because they say they're always in the right. And what I say to them is, how right is our country right now? We've got the biggest deficit we've ever had. We've got the biggest fail in national security we've had in modern history. Al-Qaeda and ISIS are on the rise. Oh, and by the way, American hostages are still being kidnapped by terrorist organizations overseas, and Joe Biden has done nothing to bring these men and women home, young children home, some of which tragically might already be dead. That should be the only news people are talking about. But here's why they don't want to talk about it. Because Donald Trump secured the release of 54 hostages and detainees in his tenureship. That's more than every president before him combined. And do you know how much money he spent in bounties? Zero. Gave the terrorists no money. In fact, he went forward and killed the terrorists. I know. I ran a lot of his counterterrorism programs. And what they're doing with this messaging campaign is preemptively drowning Donald Trump's successes, like the Afghanistan debacle. Donald Trump withdrew with intelligence, withdrew with a plan in place, and Joe Biden lit it on fire so they could give him the political narrative that Joe Biden withdrew from Afghanistan on 9/11, as if that is now somehow not a smack in the face to every soldier we buried in the war in Afghanistan and other places. And they just gloss right over that. And if you just switch the names and you say Donald Trump was the one doing this, or some conservative media publication was the one that put Joe Biden's face over a Caesar, they would be having a field day saying the right is calling for or actually justifying violence of any kind. It is a total hypocrisy and a two-tier system of justice.
And it's not the first time they did this either. You know, look back in 2017. Remember when they had that Caesar in the park? And I got arrested, actually, for storming the stage of that. Remember when they dressed Caesar up like Trump in New York City and they tried having that big play, and it was a very obvious, I called it assassination porn. You've been very generous with your time. In these last few minutes that I have you, what do you think are the biggest national security threats, you know, facing our country right now, obviously aside from our open border and, you know, looming cyber attacks from China? And do you foresee a cyber attack or Iranian or Chinese interference impacting our upcoming presidential election? Because nobody from the State Department, nobody from the Pentagon, nobody from the Biden administration is going to be honest about this. And so you might as well just black pill our audience now and tell them the truth about what's really going on, because I know you know, and I think the American people deserve to know.
The problem is the radical left, they're not stupid. They're evil and they're smart. The bigger problem is our enemies are even smarter to take advantage of such a dilapidated United States of America national security regime. So people that used to be our allies in the Middle East aren't even taking our phone calls anymore. People that used to help us curb terrorism in places like Syria and Afghanistan and Iraq and Iran aren't even working with us anymore. Instead, they're all in bed together with the CCP in Russia and Iran, who I think are our biggest national security threats for multiple reasons, not just economic and financial, but for terrorism reasons. And they're collectively flush with cash from Joe Biden. And they have been, it's no coincidence. They are seeding illegal immigrants through the border that are theirs, handpicked criminals, to come into the United States of America to cause harm when they greenlight those operations. And it's not going to be tomorrow or next month. It's going to be a ways down the road when it's advantageous to them. They are the ones that have caused 2 world wars. They are the ones that have made the United States look extremely weak on the foreign policy scale. And to me, the biggest issue is always going to be national security, because right now, America has failed to protect its citizenry, has failed to prevent more world wars, and we are bankrolling these world wars and essentially bankrolling these terrorist organizations of the Ayatollahs in Iran, and they are using that money and the weaponry out of Afghanistan to arm our enemies and to come after America, Israel, and our allies. And that is the thing that Donald Trump was the best at defeating. He took on every single one of those people and entities, and they make fun of him for daring to talk to Kim Jong-un or having a conversation with Putin or talking to Xi Jinping. I remember when he wanted to talk to those guys, they took his call. They took his call because they had to listen to what he was going to say. And if they didn't, there was going to be economic, financial, and possibly national security consequences. We are not even on the call sheet anymore of any one of these countries, and our allies in the Middle East are running towards them and away from us. And to me, that's the gravest national security threat, because they have formed a collective that Donald Trump destroyed. These guys have now gotten back together as the modern day axis of evil, and they are all banded together in their hatred for the United States of America. And that is a terrible prospect for our country.
I agree. Well, hopefully when President Trump wins for a third time, you'll be back in the administration as well, helping to make America safe again. Kash, where can people get your book? Because you wrote this amazing book called Government Gangsters. I've read it. I love it. It's great. I was there for the first day of your book tour.
Yeah,
Tell
that's
people,
right.
tell people about the book and what inspired you to write it and where people can buy your book.
Yeah, just go to governmentgangsters.com, governmentgangsters.com. I'm giving out signed copies for the holidays, and you can go wherever books are sold. But look, Donald Trump was kind enough to launch this book for me, but he was the inspiration for it. Anybody can identify the problem. How do we fix it? I go by agency, department by department, using Donald Trump's successes in national security to show how we reform the FBI and the DOJ and the CIA. Because to me, those are the most critical infrastructures we have. And Donald Trump called Government Gangsters the blueprint for 2024, and it shot up the bestseller list. It's only been out a couple of months, but get this book for the holidays. Go to governmentgangsters.com. I'm going to be cranking nonstop on Truth Social at Kash, at KASH. It's the only place you'll find me. People are like, oh, you're biased. You're on Donald Trump's free speech platform. I'm like, I'm on the only true free speech platform there is. If you got another one, give me a call and let me know, and maybe I'll sign up for that. But, when we have great voices like yours out there doing work day after day, I have confidence that in 10 months, we will be able to effectively communicate Donald Trump's Agenda 47 to the American people. And as I crisscross this country and give speaking engagements, I'm more and more inspired that his message is getting across. But we got work to do. We got work to do for President Trump. We got to secure this election and make sure these government gangsters don't rig it. So if you want the receipts, which I also put in here, by the way, Joe Biden spent 10 months blocking the release of this book. I had to sue him in federal court just to get this book out. If that's how bad they didn't want the truth out. And that shows me I was right over the target. So I appreciate being on your show and all the support for government gangsters, and get it for the holidays. I think you'll love it. And I think we're giving away some fun coasters.
I love it. I love it. I think it's great. I have a copy. We did a book swap. I gave him a copy of my book. He gave me a copy of his. So it was great. But no, really, it's a great book. And you want to read that because you want to learn all about it. Anything else you want to say? I know you've said a lot already, but you have so much. You have so much to share, and there's so much.
Actually, I have a fun announcement. So I started the Kash Foundation, a 501c3. We've given away over $250,000 to active duty soldiers, service veterans, law enforcement, kids, legal defense funds, Jan 6 families. And we just put out the cashfoundation.com. We're giving away $20,000 in holiday grants for this Christmas season. So if you go to the cashfoundation.com, I'm not asking for your money. I'm not asking for donations. Find me a family in need right now, sponsor them, which means you just have to fill out an application online. It takes you 5 minutes, and we are going to give away $20,000 in grants on Monday. So check us out at thecashfoundation.com. I know they hate it when the right does charitable efforts, but we will never stop helping to provide for Americans that are in need.
Well, that's really wonderful. And the website where people can go to support your foundation again?
Thecashfoundation.com.
Thecashfoundation.com. Wonderful. Well, Kash, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure having you, and I hope to have you on as a regular because you just have such great information to share. So I really appreciate you taking time. I know you're super busy.
Thanks so much. Have a great holiday season. Merry Christmas, and congrats again on the show. I'm sure I'll see you in the new year on the road.
Yeah, I hope to see you again soon. So Merry Christmas to you too. Thank you. Bye. It's Kash Patel. He's great. He's really great. Not many people have been loyal to President Trump, but he's one of them. He's a true Trump loyalist. So we love Kash Patel. And it was really great when I was in the Villages because, I'm on the board of Villagers for Trump. I got to introduce him and help him launch the first day of his book tour. So that was really exciting. And he was a big hit in the Villages, and everybody really loved his book. Let's go to the chat. I want to see what all of you have to say. If you like the interview, press 1 in the chat. Also, we're live right now, so be sure that you're sharing the link. I'm going to retweet it again right now. But we want everybody to watch this, and we want everybody to see this interview. We want everybody to be able to ask questions. I'm going to be taking your questions now. What did you guys think of Kash and the interview and the information that he just gave you? I thought it was really great. I think that he's just so intelligent. All right, I just retweeted it again. Someone said, Laura seems kind of down tonight. Yeah, well, you know what? I'm just really upset with the Republicans today. You're right. I am down tonight. I am. I'm human, I'm down because I came in, and my producer will tell you, I came into the studio screaming today, "These Republicans, can you believe these assholes? Did you see what they just did?" So it's just sad. We're not going to have a country anymore. And I just feel like we are going to have a Democrat Speaker of the House in the next few months. And it's just really depressing. It's just so depressing because they're doing this on purpose just to hurt Trump. And I don't know. It really honestly does depress me. I will say that the fact that they know how FISA was used to illegally spy on President Trump and his supporters, and the Republicans have control of the House and they did this. It's just, it's very upsetting stuff. Somebody said, "Laura, are you engaged?" No, I'm not engaged. I just wear my rings on this finger. That's so funny. I know, right? I'm like wearing my rings. No, I just, I actually like bought these rings for myself actually as a Hanukkah gift. I went out and bought myself my own Hanukkah present. And so I bought myself some rings, but no, I'm not engaged. Got to stay in the game. I got to stay in the game. Can't be sidelined. Can't be put on the bench. That's actually really funny though, because Trump, there's this video and we have the clip. And there's these great Canadians who have their own show, North American News Network. And they did an interview with me at the Trump Doral Club down in Miami not too long ago. And it was just so funny because at the end of the interview, the woman who was interviewing me was like, "Oh, so I just have to ask you, you just seem like such an intimidating young lady to ask out on a date. Are you single? Are you dating anybody?" And it was just so funny because I answered the question honestly. I mean, look, yeah, sure. Like, it'd be nice to have more of a personal life. But the reality is that I'm so busy and I work like 18 hours a day and relationships take a lot of time. And so I told this really funny story about, it's a real story, by the way. And if the person's watching, they know who they are. And I know they watch my show. So it's a real story. And she asked me, and we'll just play the clip for you right now and you can see it for yourself. But Trump thinks the clip is hilarious because he's already shared it twice on Truth Social, and he shared it again yesterday. And then the media went crazy, and we'll show you the article because they're like, "Trump thanks Laura Loomer for staying single so that she can, work nonstop to support him." So go ahead and play the clip. I think it's really funny.
I have to ask you, Laura, you're single, correct?
Yeah.
So how intimidating are you for a fellow to ask you out?
Well, it's not like I'm vicious in that sense, but a lot of people just can't handle my lifestyle, and I'm very busy. Just, I'll tell you a funny story. I dated somebody one time, and they thought that I was, too focused on Trump, and they said that I gave my activism in support of President Trump more attention than I gave them. And it's like, yeah, that's right, because Trump is more important than you. Trump is going to save our country. And so you need to understand that President Trump is more important than you. And if you think that you're more important than President Trump, then you have some kind of like delusional personality disorder. So that was the end of that relationship.
That's
President
right.
Trump's my #1 priority right now.
and so he should be.
Yeah.
Well, Laura, it's been great fun talking to you today, and I look forward to watching your podcast for sure. And I feel quite safe actually sitting with you. So
thank you. Appreciate it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
So that's Colleen Wilson from North American TV, really lovely lady. And it was just so funny because they posted this interview, and then Trump, I guess, it was a longer interview. It was like, I don't know, 30-minute interview or so. But yeah, he posted the clip, and then you could see this article that they wrote yesterday on Mediaite. Trump thanks Laura Loomer for claiming she's single because she loves him too much. So, I mean, look, I don't date liberals, and that's the thing too, is even if they were a Trump supporter I just can't have people complaining all day like, "Oh, you canceled this date, or you canceled going to have dinner with me," because the thing that ultimately ended it is, well, I don't want to get into all of it. It's too personal. I don't need to be getting into my personal life on the show. But let's just say, when you are traveling a lot for work and and organizing rallies, or you're just like really busy, you know, writing articles in support of President Trump, or something really crazy happens, like an indictment or an arrest, and somebody is trying to get your attention, it can be annoying, right? It's flattering, but it can also be annoying if you're super dedicated to a cause and somebody just doesn't understand your mission. And you have to be with somebody, in my opinion, that actually understands your purpose in life, because I don't want people making like little snide remarks like, oh, you know, you are too invested in your political activism. And yeah, maybe I'm not going to be forever, but right now I do believe that 2024 is the most important election, and I have a purpose, and I'm using my talents while I'm young, while I'm youthful, to, you know, help get President Trump elected, and we'll see what happens with my life. Let's go back to the chat. I want to answer people's questions, but they like, the media went crazy. They they got a kick out of that, but yeah. Anyway. Let's see what people are saying. Someone said, maybe you shouldn't insinuate your partner is delusional. Well, if you think that going to dinner is more important than me organizing a rally in support of the president when he's getting arrested, that is delusional, right? Like, dude, seriously, chill. You can eat dinner anytime you want to eat dinner. Okay, you could have dinner 7 days a week. Okay, but you can't always show up and organize a rally for President Trump. All right. So you just need to calm down. But I don't know. When you tell someone to calm down and chill and that they're overreacting, that's like number one way to start a fight in a relationship. But don't take relationship advice from me. My manicures last longer than my relationships. Oh, my production team's laughing. Okay. Anyway, next question. Someone said Kash is a hero, Laura's a hero. We're all backing President Trump. Let's see. Someone said, just found out you're on live tonight. You must stay until dawn. So everybody really liked the Kash interview. That was nice. Let's see. Do you think President Trump will be the Speaker of the House to be able to slip into the presidency? I don't think he's going to be Speaker of the House. I think that we're going to lose control of the House, honestly. I really honestly think that we're going to lose control of the House. So, someone said, what is one thing you wish more people knew about President Trump? Honestly, I wish people understood how generous President Trump was, right? Because they look at this man who's a billionaire and they just don't understand how giving and laid back he is. When I was at Bedminster, right, I had never been to a golf tournament. I don't even watch golf, honestly. I was just in New York speaking to the New York Young Republicans a few months ago, and I decided to go to Bedminster because my friends were going, and I just got a regular general admission ticket. And then, what do you know, I'm on the golf course and President Trump recognized me and he goes, oh, come to my private suite. And then he's like, oh, well, who all is with you? And I said, well, there's like 5 people with me. And he said, they can all come. And I was thinking that it was going to be like 5 minutes, you know? Oh, you go up, you see Trump, and, you know, for 5 minutes. He literally let me and my friends sit in his private suite. And it was so funny because his family was there. And you could tell that there were like pro athletes. And they weren't getting pissed off, but like, there were people that just wanted to watch golf, but Trump was talking to me and a few others about politics, and they were getting really annoyed because they just wanted to watch golf with President Trump, and he was more interested in talking to me and some other people about politics. So he's just a really laid back guy. And then his grandkids come in and they're sitting on his lap, and he's talking about how, you know, this one's the best in his class. And then, you know, his grandkids are not fighting with each other, but like playfully saying, no, I'm the best in my class, you know? And it's just really funny because he's so laid back and he's a loving grandfather, and you never get to see that side of him. There was a really cute clip of him showing up for Grandparents' Day for Eric's daughter not too long ago. It's just a really cute clip, and you don't see people showing that side of President Trump. They call him a bully. They say he's mean. They say all this stuff about him. But he honestly is such a sweet grandfather. He's so kind. He's so generous. And he's honestly the most hospitable person you're ever going to meet in your life. I mean, you're sitting there and he's like, you want some pizza? You want some chicken? And he's, you know, he does. We're sitting there at the golf course and he's eating his pizza and he's eating his French fries and whatever. And he's like telling his staff, get everybody Diet Cokes, get everyone some pizza. You want some chicken? You want some French fries? And he's just so laid back, and that's how he is. You know, he's a very laid back person, and you wouldn't get that impression from him, seeing that he's such a successful businessman, billionaire, but he's just so focused on everybody being comfortable and having a good time. And I think that's very nice. Very nice of him. Someone said, next time they ask if you're single, say I'm being screwed by the government every day. Yeah, we all are, right? We all are. Let's see. Well, we have a lot to talk about, but in the meantime, I'm going to, we have to thank our sponsors, right? We have to thank our sponsors. And as you know, Rumble's a free speech platform. And one of the reasons I'm on Rumble, I'm on X as well, but the reason why I do my show exclusively on Rumble and I live stream it is because Rumble promotes free speech. And in this day and age where you have advertiser boycotts, we're very grateful to the advertisers that want to support us. And one of the great companies that is supporting me and my show and also my face, as you can see, is Genucel. And Genucel is a really great skincare line. And so they have a new product, the Genucel 3. It's finally here. It's the most advanced Genucel product ever. It combines hyaluronic acid, eye cereal, and goji berry, caffeine, and green tea. It's going to make the bags and the puffiness disappear along with your dark circles. As you know, I don't sleep, and so I love Genucel because for me, if I wake up with puffiness in the morning, sometimes I get allergies and I wake up, I have asthma too, and so sometimes my face just feels like very inflamed. Especially if my asthma is acting up. I know that sounds weird, but it does happen. And so I just put the Genucel on my face and it honestly reduces the puffiness on my eyes. It gets rid of fine lines and crow's feet. I just turned 30 this year. Oh my God. And so now I've always taken care of my skin, but now especially, right, I'm making sure that I'm extra moisturized because I don't want those fine lines and crow's feet. It's really great for your eye contour area and for the longevity of your skin. This is the first Genucel product to provide instant hydrating minerals. It feels just like a facial at the spa, and I really like getting facials. I really like going to the spa. I really like getting massages, and when I have time, I really enjoy just kind of relaxing for an hour and getting a facial. But the thing about this product is it's so high quality. It's like salon grade facial product, right? So you can be at home in your gym clothes, in your bathrobe, after a long day when you get back from work, or when I get home from the studio at 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning, right? And I wash my face and I put my Genucel products on, and it feels really nice and my face feels really smooth in the morning. And one of the best gifts I think you can get somebody this holiday season is skincare, because who doesn't want to take care of their skin? And so they have their Fall Classics package at an introductory discount. And it's going to include the Genucel jawline treatment for a firmer, tighter neck and jawline. And with this package, you're also going to get the classic Genucel anti-wrinkle moisturizer. You can see all their products here on the screen. And you're going to get the vitamin C deep firming serum. I use a vitamin C serum on my face, and I also use a hyaluronic acid moisturizer on my face every single day. I also take my makeup off with hyaluronic acid makeup wipes. So these are really good products that you're going to want to use on your face. And Genucel is highly recommended by me because I use it myself. I really do. It's essentially a free spa treatment every single day. And they guarantee that you're going to look 10 years younger and you're going to get compliments everywhere you go. And if you don't, you get your money back, no questions asked. And so if you want to get some skincare for yourself, or maybe you want to get it for your girlfriend, your mom, your grandma, or even your boyfriend, guys need great skincare too. I love a guy with a nice clear complexion and a nice face. So you can go to Genucel.com/Loomer. That's Genucel.com/Loomer for deep discounts on this amazing fall package, or you can call 1-800-SKIN-211 now. So make sure you get your skincare products, and for results in 12 hours or less, the immediate effects are included free, or they give you your money back guaranteed. So get ready now for your holiday get together. Again, that's Genucel.com/Loomer, or call 800-SKIN-211. One last time, that's Genucel.com/Loomer. Get your extra holiday savings today. So, lots going on. We talked about the Chinese cyber attack. Let's see. We have some clips as well. I want to play some of these clips because today, as you saw, the Republicans, as I was talking to Kash about, one of the reasons why I look so down when I came in today, as some of you noticed, is because I just can't believe it. I guess I can believe it because the Republicans suck, but they actually passed this $900 billion NDAA, National Defense Authorization Defense Bill. And within it, of course, is an extension of FISA. So, now the FBI can surveil you without a warrant. Just ridiculous. This is what they did to President Trump. And then on top of that, they snuck in another $600 million for Ukraine. So we're going to play a couple of clips, actually. We're going to play this clip from Christopher Wray talking about FISA. Of course, this is the FBI director who has engaged in weaponized government against President Trump and the J6ers. So let's go ahead and play this clip.
And what if there were a terrorist attack that we had a shot to prevent but couldn't take it because the FBI was deprived of its ability under 702 to actually look at key information already sitting in our holdings? Now, I was in FBI headquarters 22 years ago on 9/11. And over the years, I've spoken with families of victims of that horrific attack. Before that attack, well-intentioned policymakers had made the choice to build a wall preventing access to national security information sitting in our and our partners' holdings. Well, I bring that up because allowing 702 to lapse or amending it in a way that undermines its effectiveness would be akin to laying bricks to rebuild another pre-9/11 style wall. What could anybody possibly say to victims' families if there was another attack that we could have prevented if we hadn't given away the ability to effectively use a tool that courts have consistently deemed constitutional? Because let's not fool ourselves, that's what's at stake with the reauthorization of 702. As the threats from foreign adversaries to our homeland continue to evolve, the agility and effectiveness of 702 will be essential to the FBI's ability, really our mandate from the American people, to keep them safe for years to come.
Yeah, except he spends most of his time, using it to illegally surveil people like Donald Trump and the J6ers and Trump supporters and Trump donors. So they want to use it, right? The F stands for foreign, of course. They want to use it and they want to excuse this extension as a way to, protect Americans and protect our country from foreigners, right? From foreign interference. But the reality is that they're using this to violate the Fourth Amendment rights of Americans. And what happened today is 147 Republicans, including Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, including Elise Stefanik, and including several other people like Kevin McCarthy and Dan Crenshaw and Nancy Mace. And we're going to pull this list up for you right now. I have a list here. You can see for yourself, full screen. Take a look, full screen of this list. We're going to get this pulled up right now. This graphic that shows you the Republicans. Here you go. The Republicans in the House today who voted in favor of NDAA, essentially stripping you of your Fourth Amendment rights. So you can see, go through, it's alphabetical. Comer, so even James Comer, okay? Comer, Crenshaw, let's see, Diaz-Balart, Emmer. God, Emmer wanted to be the Speaker of the House. Let's see, Jimenez. You have all types of Republicans here. I'm pointing out some of the more high-profile names. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, of course. Nancy Mace. Maria Salazar, Elise Stefanik. Michael Waltz, who wants to run for governor of Florida. Yeah, so you have a lot of people that just completely disregarded the Constitution today, and I think that is unforgivable. Let's pull up the list of senators. I have that graphic as well of the United States senators who voted who voted in favor of the NDAA as well, so that you can see the senators. Ted Cruz, Lisa Murkowski, Mitt Romney. So I don't ever want to see somebody like Ted Cruz call himself a constitutional conservative ever again. You see that? Cruz. We'll highlight that for you right there. Ted Cruz voted in favor of it. Mitt Romney, Marco Rubio, Chuck Schumer, Kyrsten Sinema. It's just unbelievable. I mean, it's just crazy seeing that this is an issue that Republicans are crossing the aisle with Democrats to vote on. It's just unbelievable that nobody is taking a firm stance in Washington, D.C. to protect our privacy rights. And it's just a massive expansion of the government surveillance state. So that's not good. We have some breaking news. I guess the control room's alerting me to this right now. Breaking news tonight out of Michigan. A Michigan court rejects challenges to Donald Trump being removed from the 2024 ballot. So this is another one of those 14th Amendment cases that we have extensively been reporting on here at Loomer Unleashed. Where they were trying to use Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, claiming that Donald Trump incited an insurrection and that he should be removed from the ballot. So the court affirmed 2 lower court rulings without determining whether Trump falls under the insurrection clause in the Constitution's 14th Amendment. Scroll back up. The Michigan Court of Appeals said Thursday, scroll back up, that it won't stop former President Trump from appearing on the state's 2024 Republican primary ballot, turning aside challenges from critics who argue that his role in the 2021 attack on the U.S. Capitol disqualifies him. So it's a win. It's a win. The court further said Trump's possible spot on a general election ballot was not ripe for consideration. So it's another victory for President Trump. We also have the polling that I was referencing earlier as well in my interview with Kash. We're going to pull that up from Bloomberg. So again, this is not right-wing polling, okay? This is Bloomberg. And what does that say? What does that say from today? Trump leads swing state poll as Biden's core voters drifting away. So scroll down. Joe Biden's growing political troubles are coming from within his own party as he trails Donald Trump in the battleground states that will decide the 2024 election. That's the conclusion from the latest Bloomberg News morning consult poll of voters in 7 swing states. Read the full report here. You can click on that as well. Biden forgave billions in student debt. Poll shows it's not enough for Gen Z. Yeah, because Gen Z wants to have a home. Gen Z wants to be able to have a family. And young people are starting to realize, not just Gen Z, but millennials also, I'm a millennial, that we're not going to be able to have a home. We're not going to be able to have a family. We're not even going to be able to get married and have kids and have a house someday because of this economy. And so I tell people all the time, yeah, you want to get married, you want to have kids, that's great. I think we all want to get married and have kids, or maybe, some people do, some people don't. But it'd be nice, right? It'd be nice. I think most people would want to have a family. Most people would probably want to have kids. But is it realistic right now to have kids? No. We're in the middle of a communist takeover of our country. And so I tell people you should wait till Trump gets back into office, because otherwise you're going to be pregnant in the middle of a communist regime, and you're going to be pregnant in the gulag. Why would you want to have a baby in the gulag? And I know that sounds really crazy, and maybe some people will say, oh, it's hyperbolic, Laura. No, it's not hyperbolic at all. They're trying to make President Trump a political prisoner. They're going to throw Donald Trump in jail. What's to say they're not going to throw you in jail? You think they're going to care if you're pregnant? No. They're going to lock you up. You're going to be a political prisoner, and they're going to harass you and your children. You think I'm making this up? I'm not making this up. There was a story a couple weeks ago about a baby, okay, an 8-week-old baby that was put on the no-fly list because their parents were at J6. This is a real story. And so now even babies are being classified as domestic terrorists by the Biden regime, okay? So, this has happened. And we're pulling up the story right now, but it's an infant son of J6 defendant placed on the no-fly list simply because, their father, I believe, was there on January 6th. So we're going to pull this up right now. See, infant son of J6 defendant placed on Quiet Sky suspected terrorist watch list. An 8-week-old infant was placed on a secret watch list known as the Quiet Skies last week, according to A.J. Fisher. The only suspected but not so reasonable explanation for the designation is that Fisher is a J6 defendant and the infant's father. Most alarmingly, it was not even Fisher who booked the ticket for his child. Fisher's fiance booked the ticket for herself and the infant, but neither was anywhere close to D.C. on J6. They booked separately, weeks apart from Fisher, because he was still awaiting court approval for travel due to his ongoing case with the DOJ. So, yeah, there's still people that are being hunted down right now, 3 years after the fact. So, no, I don't think I'm crazy for saying people shouldn't get married and have kids right now. I think that people should wait because you want to be a newlywed and then have the FBI knock your door down and arrest your wife or arrest your husband for, who knows, supporting Trump. I mean, they're arresting people for just posting memes these days. You don't even have to be in the Capitol on January 6th. You could post a meme and go to jail and have your door kicked in by the FBI. So it's not a safe world right now to be having children in. Obviously, I'm pro-life, so I'm not advocating for abortion. So if you are pregnant, yeah, you should have your kid. But it's like, you shouldn't be going out of your way, in my opinion, right now. This is my personal opinion. And I know that there's a lot of people on the right that think that this view is abhorrent and they say, oh, it's so nihilistic, you shouldn't be encouraging that. But I personally just don't think that it's a responsible time for people to be having children right now. I just don't. That's my personal opinion. I'm allowed to have my opinion. Let's pull these poll numbers up again so we can run through them and people can see firsthand. So look at these swing states. Arizona, Trump is beating Biden by 4 points. In Georgia, he's beating him by 6 points. Michigan, 4 points. Nevada, 3 points. North Carolina, 9 points. Wow, look at that. Pennsylvania, 2 points. And Wisconsin, 4 points. So all the key states, you guys, all the key swing states, Trump is beating Biden. And we already know that he's going to win Florida. He's going to win Iowa. Trump's up over 41 points in the state of Florida. Totally embarrassing for Ron DeSanctimonious. So you can scroll down. A poll conducted of 4,935 registered voters online from November 27th to December 6th. The margin of error is plus or minus 1 percentage point across the 7 states, 3 percentage points in Arizona, Georgia, and Pennsylvania, 4 percentage points in Michigan, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and 5 percentage points in Nevada. Bloomberg News Morning Consult Poll. Biden still leads Trump with Generation Z voters overall, 44 to 38%. I think that as the economy continues to worsen, though, we're going to see those numbers shift drastically. But the battleground state poll shows Biden is in a bind campaigning on his student loan moves. While a plurality of young voters say he has done too little, a plurality of Generation X and baby boomer voters say he has already done too much. Meanwhile, much of the student loan forgiveness has gone to middle-aged borrowers with a longer payment history, making it harder to convince young voters that the policy has helped them. Yeah, well, I think that young people need to wake up. Unfortunately, you still have celebrities. You have people like Taylor Swift, and you have TikTok, and you have all these, influencers on social media that are still trying to push Biden onto young people. And it's really selfish because people like Taylor Swift, she's not going to be impacted by inflation. Taylor Swift isn't going to be impacted by Bidenomics. She's not going to be impacted by the border, right? She's not impacted, right? She's flying high, doing what she's doing, but her fans, they're definitely going to be impacted. And so it's really selfish of her, especially since so many of her fans are young people, for her to be enslaving these young people by encouraging them to support communist policies by giving their vote to Joe Biden. And so, I think this is really interesting because now you have, high profile, pro-Trump artists, people like Jason Aldean, Big and Rich, Travis Tritt, and many others who are going on tour. They just announced Rock the Country. And so hopefully that's a counter, obviously, because Taylor Swift has really taken the entire world by storm. She was just listed as a Time Person of the Year. And, there just seems to be this obsession with Taylor Swift. And you can see that the writing's on the wall for her to be utilized by the Democrats as a tool to get Generation Z out to vote. And no, this is not me making this up. She's been actually using her world tour right now, her Eras World Tour, to do voter registration drives. And on Instagram alone, she has already registered over 40,000 people. You can see these reports online. They're even hiring full-time news reporters to work at certain news stations just to report on Taylor Swift. It's out of control. So, a lot going on there. A Taylor Swift Instagram post helped drive a surge in voter registration. On Tuesday morning, the singer posted a short message on Instagram encouraging her 272 million followers to register to vote. Afterward, the website she directed fans to, Vote.org, recorded more than 35,000 registrations, according to the organization. So, you know, Taylor Swift is a big-time Democrat, and she's a Trump hater, as we know, and she wants people to support Joe Biden. That's what she said. But, again, just another selfish celebrity who's encouraging people to support policies that are bad for the youth of America and just bad for America overall. So let's go to the chat, take some questions. We'll open up the phone lines tonight, too. I think I want to take some phone calls. It's been a while since we've done some phone calls, but I think tonight we will definitely take some calls. Elon needs to get out the vote for Trump. That'd be nice. Someone said, do I really think so? Yes, I absolutely think so. Someone said, if we get Trump elected, will you have a baby? If I meet somebody, maybe. Maybe. We're going to be putting the call-in number in the chat right now, you guys, so you can call in. Take some phone calls. Sounds like Cardi B needs to school Taylor on promoting this corpse. Yeah, that'd be nice, you know, get Cardi B and Taylor. I see Cardi B actually went crazy on Joe Biden and went crazy on the Democrats a couple weeks ago because of the migrant crisis and everything that's just been happening in New York. Call in with your questions. Again, you guys, the number is 772-634-3560. That is 772-634-3560. Let's see, what else is going on in the news? We have some super chats as well. Let's go back to that article, though. You know, we were talking tonight with Kash about the rising terror threat in America and the rising... We have that clip also. We're going to play this clip and just remind you all, because we have a clip from the FBI director talking about how the rise of terror under the Biden regime is at record levels. Like never before have they ever seen so much terrorism in America. So, or the threat of terrorism in America. And they're not just talking about, you know, their perceived vision of terror threats when it comes to Trump supporters and Christian nationalists. No, we'll play this clip now from FBI Director Christopher Wray. And this relates to the active Hamas and Hezbollah terror cells in America. And it just goes to show you how unsafe we truly have become under Joe Biden. Just this week, too, there were videos of Muslims chanting that they want Sharia law in the UK. They want it in the West. We have those clips for you as well that we're going to play. But you can see this isn't a conspiracy theory. You know, years ago, they said that, oh, Laura Loomer's a conspiracy theorist. She's anti-Muslim. She hates Muslims because I was warning everybody about the threat of Hamas and Hezbollah and the fact that we were going to have Muslims calling for Sharia law here in America. And now we have these people on video doing just that. And take a listen to what Christopher Wray said recently.
So what I would say that is unique about the environment that we're in right now in my career is that while there may have been times over the years where individual threats could have been higher here or there than where they might be right now, I've never seen a time where all the threats or so many of the threats are all elevated all at exactly the same time. That's what makes this environment that we're in now so fraught, and why funding our men and women who are working shoulder to shoulder with state and local law enforcement and other partners every day makes it even more important, not less.
So, blinking red lights analogy about 9/11, all the lights were blinking red before 9/11. Apparently, obviously, all of us missed it. Would you say that there's multiple blinking red lights out there?
I see blinking lights everywhere I turn.
That's right. We see blinking lights everywhere we turn because, oh yeah, the world's on fire. Breaking news right now, just to reiterate this just came in 2 seconds ago. Hamas plot to carry out terror attack on Jewish institutions in Europe is foiled as arrests are made in Germany and Holland after similar raids took place in Denmark. Mossad said Danish agencies had exposed Hamas's infrastructure in Europe. Danish authorities will question detainees as it is unclear what the motives were. German police today arrested 3 suspected members of Hamas in Berlin accused of preparing an attack against Jewish targets in Europe. You guys, this isn't just happening in Europe, okay? Here in the United States, you've had Christmas parades attacked and acts of vehicular jihad. They don't want to talk about that. All over Europe, right? We've had acts of vehicular jihad and jihadis that are trying to carry out attacks. We've seen terror cells get busted up and people making threats of carrying out Islamic terror all throughout the country since October 7th. And Donald Trump was able to significantly reduce this. We saw this a lot during the Obama administration, and they like to refer to it as it's workplace violence, right? I remember when there was this Muslim guy during the Obama administration. I believe it was in Oklahoma. We can verify this and we can pull it up so you can see the story yourself. But I believe it was in Oklahoma, and a Muslim man actually decapitated a woman who he was working with at a warehouse. And when this happened, Obama actually called it workplace violence as opposed to an act of Islamic terrorism, even though the guy did it in the name of Islam. And we see the same thing here where here it is, after beheading in Oklahoma, debate over what to call it. You can see this is in 2014, Obama in denial, right? The same thing is happening now, where they want to say these people are peaceful protesters or they're just pro-Palestinian, anti-apartheid protesters. No, these are terrorists that we're dealing with, okay? The pro-Palestinian movement is a pro-Hamas movement. To be pro-Palestinian is to be pro-Hamas. And I know that might sound offensive to some people, but it's the truth. And so I don't really give a damn if people are offended. It's the truth. Okay, they elected Hamas to represent them, and there's overwhelming support, and I don't really hear a lot of condemnation from the Palestinian crowd over Hamas. So I have a really big problem with this movement. Here, this is a real story from 2014, as I said, and it sparked outrage, okay? Because Obama said it was workplace violence, and it was call Oklahoma beheading what it is, terrorism, right? Even CNN called it out. I mean, look at how far we've fallen as a nation. CNN is now defending Hamas. Okay, there's accusations against CNN and the New York Times and Reuters and AP for allegedly having their own reporters embedded with Hamas on October 7th. Okay, and now this is what we see. Colleen Hufford was beheaded by Alton Nolan during a surprise attack at a food plant in Oklahoma last week, according to police. Thankfully, before the terrorist could behead another victim, Tracy Johnson was shot by the company's CEO, who is also a deputy sheriff. So this sparked outrage because you can scroll down. The FBI and Obama called it workplace violence, even though, the guy said that he was a soldier of Allah and that he was carrying this attack out in the name of ISIS, right? And so the same thing. And why do we have this? Why is this now repeating in our society again after the Trump administration? Because like President Trump often says, it's Obama who's calling the shots right now. And then, of course, the media goes, oh, Donald Trump doesn't even know who's president right now. Donald Trump, they say he's having cognitive decline and that he's having cognitive issues. No, He's making a point to drive home the fact that Joe Biden is the one in cognitive decline, and it's Obama who's really in control of things right now, which is why we've now seen this jihadi love fest in the White House and the State Department, and all of our intel agencies just seem to be completely compromised and unwilling to call these people out for what they are. They're Palestinian jihadists, they're Muslim terrorists, they're people who have no place in Western civilization. They have no place in our country because their views are completely incompatible with Western civilization. I don't give a shit who that offends. I don't care. You want to come here, assimilate. You don't want to be here and you don't want to assimilate and you want to hate Jews, you want to hate Christians, you want to hate America, then go to Gaza. Go to the Middle East, okay? Go to one of the 56 majority Muslim countries in the world and get the hell out of my country if you don't want to assimilate and you don't want to be peaceful and you don't want to embrace Western values and embrace our constitutional Western way, okay? I've had enough of these people. I'm sick of them. I don't want them in my country anymore. I want them gone. Okay? If they're not going to assimilate and they're going to be promoting violence, it's absolutely sickening. It is disgusting watching them take over the Christmas tree lighting in New York City. It's disgusting watching them, go to events, and we're now seeing all these. It's Hanukkah right now. Watching all of these Hanukkah celebrations get defaced. Okay, all across the country, menorahs are getting decorated with Palestinian flags, and there's swastika graffiti over menorahs, and Jews on college campuses are saying that the Palestinians are putting eviction notices on their doors and telling them that they're not going to be able to go to class without being attacked physically unless the conflict between Israel and Gaza ends. This is not the America that I grew up in, okay? This is like Nazi Germany making a comeback here in America, and people on the left and the right are now starting to notice this, especially last week with these really disgusting testimonies in Congress from these disgraceful university presidents. And we talked about that on the last episode of Loomer Unleashed as well. But I've just never seen the Jew hatred in this country at such extreme levels. And it has a lot to do with the fact that during the Obama administration, we did something called refugee resettlement. And we brought a lot of these people to our country. And as Kash said, you heard it, right? This is the stuff I was banned for exposing. Ilhan Omar's district is the #1 ISIS recruitment location. You heard it himself. Where do they have the most prosecutions for acts of terrorism in our country? In Minnesota. Who is in Congress right now? Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Minnesota and Michigan, the two biggest terror hotbeds in America right now. Not a coincidence, all right? Not a coincidence. And now, just this last week, let's play this video too. You had Muslims in the UK saying that they want Sharia law to replace the law in the UK. This is happening in the United States too, okay? There's journalists who have gone, there's videos online, we'll play them for you so you don't think I'm making this up. There are videos online that show Muslims being asked on man-on-the-street interviews in Minnesota, do you want Sharia law? Would you like to have Sharia law here in America? And they say yes. Go ahead and play this clip from the UK so people can see, because what's happening in the UK is making its way to America, especially with our wide open borders. So get ready, guys. We're probably going to have our own, Islamic caliphate and Sharia law in America, especially if Donald Trump doesn't get back into the White House and implement his Islamic travel ban. Play the clip.
رسول الله لا إله إلا الله
So that's the UK. And I have a friend, his name is Ami Horowitz. He's a Jewish journalist. I've known him for years. And my friend Ami, he does these videos. He's gone to Gaza before, actually. He's actually interviewed Hamas terrorists, and he's interviewed some of these people all across the United States of America, and he's really funny, my friend Ami, and he made this video a couple of years ago, and it went super viral because all he did is he took a microphone. He's Jewish, like I said. He went to Minnesota in the Twin Cities that is now known as like Little Somalia, and he asked people, he said, do you want Sharia? Do you think Sharia law is better than American law? And just take a look. We're going to play this clip for you soon, and you can watch it yourself. But this is in Minnesota, where Ilhan Omar is a representative. And you can just see for yourself. It's not a conspiracy theory. There are Muslims in this country that prefer Sharia law to our own Constitution. And so we're going to go ahead and play this clip for you right now. It's shocking. This is the United States of America. Real clip. This is real. This is not fake. This is 100% real. Go ahead and play it.
Cedar Riverside neighborhood of Minneapolis. It's known for the University of Minnesota, phenomenal ethnic food, and the export of American fighters to the terrorist groups ISIS and Al-Shabaab. In fact, it's reported that dozens of young Muslims from this community have gone to fight for these organizations. So we hit the street to find out what is going on. Is it easy to be Muslim in America? Or is it hard?
It's easy Muslim.
It's easy to be Muslim in America. Nobody gives you problems?
No, it's no problem. This is a free country. That's the beauty of it. So we love America. I mean, you know, it's a great country. Freedom of speech, freedom of choice of your religion.
Right.
So we don't have any issues.
Do you feel more comfortable living under American law, or do you feel more comfortable living under Sharia law?
Sharia law. I'm a Muslim. I prefer Sharia law. Right. Sharia law, yes.
You prefer Sharia law over American law?
Of course, yeah. Of course, yeah.
And do you find most of your friends feel the same way?
Yeah, of course. If you're Muslim, yeah.
He can make his daughter marry somebody.
Yeah, he can. Yeah, he can. He has the authority, you know.
The authority to do that.
Yeah, to do that. Yeah.
So here, how young do you think it's okay?
Yeah, 15.
How do you feel when this whole controversy with the Prophet Muhammad and people depicting the Prophet in cartoons? How does the whole thing make you feel?
That really pisses me off. You know what I mean? Because they know it's a button to push.
That makes me angry, and it's just that everyone gets like the big freedom, and then they don't see that the freedom that they're getting is causing a problem. It's causing hatred for other people.
Would it be better if we made it illegal in America to make fun of the Prophet Muhammad?
Definitely, yeah.
Do you think we should make a law that makes it illegal to?
That would be better. Yeah, that would be better. Yeah. To stop, you know, aggression.
I was so upset and I was so mad. They insulted our religion, they insulted our prophet, and we couldn't take it.
And they shouldn't be allowed to do that.
Oh my God, big time, yes.
Do you understand the motivation behind the people then who strike out violently against people who depict the Prophet Muhammad?
Yeah, I understand totally where they're coming from. Yeah.
Do you understand why they feel motivated to do that?
Yes, because when you every day face frustration and you know every day you have you know you're mad or somebody say that or you feel hate yourself, you can do anything you want. You commit suicide, you don't care because your heart is telling you I don't want to live no more because you couldn't take that much hate or you kill someone.
In a way they kind of deserved it.
Yeah, no, every action has a consequence.
Is it right to kill somebody who insults Muhammad?
Yeah, because she is just, she hate the religion, I understand, but she shouldn't pick up the prophet, you know?
So you understand why people would want to attack her?
Yeah.
If you had a choice, would you rather live here or would you rather live in a Muslim country?
I'd rather live in a Muslim country with my people.
Would you prefer to live in America or prefer to live in Somalia?
For me, I think it's Somalia.
Would you rather live in America or live in Somalia?
I would rather live in Somalia.
I'm not Americanized. I just speak fluent, and you know what I mean. I'm articulate, and I can articulate what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean. That's about it. But other than that, I mean, as far as my culture and my preferences and everything, it's still Somali. You know what I mean.
Even though here you have all the freedom and stuff like that.
And even though I have all the freedom,
I think life might be better in Somalia than here.
Because now you have the than freedom of it of practicing your religion while working and doing your other things.
Are you going to let the greedy heating companies and their crazy...
So you see for yourself right there that, you know, they want Sharia law in America. They do. It's not a conspiracy theory, but tell you guys, they're already here in America. And so they're coming across our border. And we already have thousands of people like this living in Virginia. Okay, look at all those Afghans who they resettled, right? After Biden's disastrous pullout, you have all the refugees that Obama brought in who are, you know, joining ISIS and Al-Shabaab, and they're living in places like Dearborn, Michigan, and they're living in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And so those are the dangers that are being posed by this wide open border. And you know, we played the Klaus Schwab clip earlier during the Kash interview, and we know that they want cyber attacks, they want open borders, they want to have a one world order and total control. And one of the ways they want to do this as well is through a digital dollar. They want to control our currency so that they can implement a social credit score. And so I want to thank the second sponsor of our show tonight. Up until now, the digital dollar, or the CBDC, has been nothing but a headline. But right now, things are developing at a rapid pace. It started with a sweeping executive order from the Biden administration, and now central banks are even hiring for their development. And here's the thing. A digital dollar can be used to track your purchases, control what you buy, and even seize or freeze your assets. It just goes along with exactly what we were talking about today. How the GOP, right, even amid all of these threats, they're voting, right, to expand FISA, to extend FISA, to expand the surveillance state and the weaponization of government, which includes debanking citizens of this country and shutting down access to their funds. Okay, they freeze your bank account, they confiscate your funds. They did it to me, they'll do it to you. They've done it to Donald Trump. So what's going to stop them from doing it to you? That's why it's so critical that you protect your money with precious metals like gold and silver. I've partnered with the top-rated precious metals company, Goldco, because they're a great company with an amazing reputation. And, you know, I think that combating weaponized governments and helping people be secure in their finances amid this weaponized period in our country it's pivotal to my platform and my messaging, which is why I've also partnered with Goldco, because I know that they're conscious about this. And this is why I think that they sponsor so many conservatives and conservative content creators, is because, you know, we actually get this. And a lot of leftists are trying to encourage people to adopt these digital currencies because they want to have globalist communist control of people in this country. Right now, Goldco is giving you up to $10,000 in free silver while supplies last. Plus, all qualified callers this week will receive a free Ronald Reagan silver coin. So don't wait until all of your money is under Joe Biden's control, or just completely gone with the way that this economy is heading. Go to loomerlikesgold.com. Again, that's loomerlikesgold.com to learn how you could get started today. You can see here, there's your free 2024 gold IRA kit. Again, if you're interested in checking out Goldco and backing up your wealth with precious metals like gold and silver, go to loomerlikesgold.com and tell them that Laura Loomer sent you. We're going to take some phone calls now. I know that we have some callers who are, people texting, and you have to text the number first, and the producer is going to connect you. So if you're interested, we'll put the number back in the chat. In the meantime, let's go back to the chat. Again, guys, if you want to call in tonight and ask me a couple questions in the last hour of the show, call 772-634-3560. Again, that's 772-634-3560. Let's see. What did you guys think about that Sharia video? It's pretty crazy, right? I just think it's, if you go online, what's crazy to me is all the gaslighting. Is they'll say, oh, right-wingers, they have all this conspiracy theory that there's going to be a Sharia takeover, that there's Sharia law in America. No, it's not a conspiracy theory. They're literally on video saying that they want Sharia law in America. So It's just so crazy. It's completely out of control. Let's see. Someone said, way to get me cussing mad before bed, Loomer. Yeah, all this stuff should piss you off. All of it should make you mad. Go back to that list of representatives again who voted today, because these are the people who you have to blow up, call their phone lines tomorrow. And look, they already voted. They're going on a 3-week vacation, so it's not like they really give a shit about what they've done. But take a look at this list, print it out, take a screenshot of it while you're watching the show tonight. It's on my Twitter as well. And make sure that you print this out. And if it's your representative, okay, keep an eye out. Look at, you have Lauren Boebert, some of the people that are more well-known on this list, okay? You have Lauren Boebert, you have, let's see, who else? You have James Comer, you have Mario Diaz-Balart, you have Representative Dunn from Florida, Tony Gonzalez. I think Mike Johnson is the one that bothers me the most, is because, look, we just got rid of Kevin McCarthy, and I was telling everybody, I mean, for those of you who have been watching my show for a while now, you know that I've been saying that Mike Johnson is going to be worse than Kevin McCarthy. And I can't stand Kevin McCarthy, okay? I cannot stand Kevin McCarthy. I mean, not just because of the way he's treated President Trump, but also, like, I have a personal issue against Kevin McCarthy. I guess you could call it a vendetta. I might as well just call it a vendetta. Maybe that sounds a little too personal, but I really have it out for Kevin McCarthy, especially after what he did to me in my campaign. He's just so disloyal. He's disgusting. But I always said that Mike Johnson was going to be worse. And look here's Mike Johnson. I posted this on my X the other day. I said, looks like I was right about Mike Johnson. I trashed him from day one because that's what he is, trash. Glad all of you found out today as well. What do you call someone who hangs out with Paul Ryan? Trash. So happy, I think, for myself, unlike so many others on the right. There he is. Yesterday, Mike Johnson hanging out with Paul Ryan. And we have a clip, I believe. We can pull it up. Today, Paul Ryan was on CNN. Paul Ryan was on, and look at him hanging his head in shame. And Paul Ryan just sitting there with his arms crossed. I mean, Paul Ryan has Mike Johnson by the balls, okay? And that's why Mike Johnson didn't even put up a fight today. It's absolutely pathetic. And we saw last week that Paul Ryan officially endorsed Nikki Haley for president, because now after he endorsed Ron DeSantis, everyone realized that Ron DeSantis is a loser. His campaign is over, okay? He has no campaign. I guess he's glutton for punishment, or has some kind of humiliation ritual because he wants to wait till Iowa and the primary in Florida. It's going to be a disaster, but look, Trump's going to kick his ass and that's it. But Paul Ryan's hanging out with Speaker Johnson, who likes to call himself MAGA Mike. Stop calling him MAGA Mike, because there's nothing MAGA about Mike Johnson. I'm so sick of it. I hate this nickname. I love President Trump, but I'll be honest with you, I hate the nickname MAGA Mike. I really hate it, because MAGA is such a beautiful thing. It's a movement of patriots. It's a movement of people who are loyal to President Trump. And Mike Johnson is not loyal, and he's absolutely not MAGA. And here he is hanging out with Paul Ryan. And look, Paul Ryan then goes on CNN today, and look what he says. Play the clip. Let's play the clip and see what Paul Ryan said.
Historically speaking, all of his tendencies are, basically where narcissism takes him, which is whatever makes him popular, makes him feel good at any given moment. And he doesn't think in classical liberal conservative terms. He thinks in an authoritarian way. And he's been able to get a big chunk of the Republican base to follow him because, he's the culture.
So play that one more time, because I want this to sink in. I want this to sink in for everybody, because he endorses Nikki Haley for president. We already know he hates Trump. So what is Mike Johnson doing with Paul Ryan after he endorses Nikki Haley and then expands FISA, which was used to spy on Donald Trump? I really honestly think that Mike Johnson is conspiring against Donald Trump leading up to the 2024 election. Go ahead and play this. And he's also echoing the same bullshit line of attack that the Democrats had this last week about Donald Trump being a dictator authoritarian. Play this clip one more time.
Historically speaking, all of his tendencies are, basically where narcissism takes him, which is whatever makes him popular, makes him feel good at any given moment. and he doesn't think in classical liberal conservative terms. He thinks in an authoritarian way, and he's been able to get a big chunk of the Republican base to follow him because, he's the cultural.
It's really shameful. And, given the fact that Paul Ryan is so hated by the base, and because Paul Ryan himself just endorsed Nikki Haley, what the hell is Speaker Johnson doing with him? He's not even in, Paul Ryan isn't even in Congress. What is he doing? I don't understand. What is he doing hanging out with Mike Johnson? It's out of control. What do you guys think about this? Let's read your comments. You said rhino, 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 scum. You guys press 1 in the chat if you think that Mike Johnson is a rhino, because I think now everybody has seen his true colors. I think that everybody knows that this guy was a phony. He was a fake. And I was the only one that was really honest with all of you. Everybody else was cheering him on and talking about how amazing he was. He's not. Press 1 in the chat if you now see Mike Johnson for his true rhino colors and you think that, another thing I'm really sick of him doing too, I'm sick of him using Christianity as a shield, because there's a lot of really good Christians out there. And every single time that Mike Johnson is, caught doing something wrong, or he doesn't actually uphold his promises, he has a prayer session or pretends like, he's such a devout evangelical, and people are starting to catch on to this now, how he tries to use it as a shield for his own shortcomings. And okay, great. You want to be an evangelical? Great, fine. You want to be super devout? Everybody has their own prerogative. I think it's great for people to have their own connection with God. But it is really interesting how Mike Johnson always uses that. He always tries to divert the conversation back to his own personal faith every single time he fails. And I don't know. I just think it's really interesting how he does that. I don't really know why he does that. People were kind of mocking it today, actually, in Congress. There was a clip of him, posting about this on Twitter, and then also having another one of his little prayer huddles. And look, I think prayer's nice. I think prayer's great. I'm not mocking prayer, but he always tries to gaslight people. Like, oh, we're going to pray for our nation. We're going to pray that everything goes well, but then we're going to screw you over, and we're going to stab you in the back, and we're going to vote with the Democrats, and we're going to send more money to Ukraine. He's a liar, right? Thou shalt not lie. Thou shalt not steal. He's stealing from the American people by agreeing to send another $600 million to Ukraine. Someone said Pence used Christianity as a shield also. Absolutely. He's no different than Mike Pence. I was talking to some people about that today too. Someone said, I'm a Christian, don't mix politics with religion. Let's see. Somebody said Johnson's black son got arrested recently. Is that true? Let's look that up. Did his son get arrested? Mike Johnson's son arrested? Let's check that out. Let's pull that up. We're going to fact check that in real time. Did he really get arrested? His son? Wait, what? No way. This can't be real. How old is Mike Johnson? Look up his age. He made it sound like he had a teenager son, like a black son. We're finding out that this guy's 40 years old. How old is Mike Johnson? Wait, he's 51? He's 51 and he has a 40-year-old black son? How does that work? That doesn't make any sense. So he was 11 years old. He's adopted. That is not right. That doesn't make any sense. Michael Terrell James, 40, told the Daily Mail that he would probably be in prison if it wasn't for House Speaker Mike Johnson. Johnson and his wife Kelly first met James while volunteering for a Christian ministry in Louisiana, and they took him in 2 years later when he became homeless. James was in court this week and has a rap sheet dating back to 2003. In court on charges of illegal cannabis business and possession of brass knuckles. Scroll down. This is so ridiculous. That's his son? He's 40 years old. He's not your son, dude. That is a grown-ass man. That is not your son. Multiple arrests throughout the years. This is crazy. Why are all of these members of Congress so screwed up? It reminds me of Matt Gaetz and his son, you know, his little pool boy son, the guy that lives with him. Yeah, son. Wink, wink. That's what they call it these days, right? Yeah, a living little pool boy. That's your son. Is that what they're calling it these days? I'm asking my producer. Is that what they call it these days? You just call it your son and you do like a little wink, 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 wink. It's my son. That's my pool boy. God, these people are so degenerate. The 51-year-old House Speaker elected October 25th, after 3 weeks of confusion following the ousting of previous Speaker Kevin McCarthy, has revealed that he informally adopted James, a Baton Rouge then teenager. He was not a teenager. That doesn't make any sense. How did he raise him then? That would mean there's no way. He would be 11 years old. If he was 51 years old and this guy is 40, that does not make any sense whatsoever. That's a lie. That's a lie. He goes, oh, that then 24-year-old law school student became a mentor of the 14-year-old boy. So he's just like allowed for this, 40-year-old man to live with him forever? This is really weird. This is very strange. This is a very weird story. They regarded him as a son. The Johnsons later had 4 biological children of their own, Jack, Will, Hannah, and Abigail. Okay. Wait, scroll up again. Residency records show James lived with the Johnsons at the first home that they owned, a 3-bed cottage in Baton Rouge, which the politician inherited from his mother in 2000. Interesting. Wow. And what's the date on this article? Oh, November. Wow. You never heard about this. I mean, I'm super political and I didn't hear about this. Let's go to the chat. Let's see what people think about that. What do you think about Mike Johnson being a 51-year-old man having a 40-year-old black son? I don't know. Sounds a little weird. That's a little strange. That means that I guess the guy was adopted at, 14 when he was... He's saying that when he was 24 years old. I don't know. I don't know if I really buy that story. Sounds a little weird. Somebody else said not buying it. Somebody else said he was a big brother to him, if anything. Yeah, you're not a son at that point. That's more of like a big brother relationship. That is very weird. Somebody said, wait, I can adopt grown-ups? I didn't know. I did not know. And it does sound like woke crap. You know, somebody said it sounds like woke crap. You know that when George Floyd died, and he died obviously from a fentanyl overdose, okay, he was not murdered by Derek Chauvin, poor Derek Chauvin, who was stabbed multiple times in jail just a couple of weeks ago by an FBI informant. When George Floyd died, Mike Johnson actually said that it was so sad. He said that it was sad that George Floyd died, and then he said that we needed to address racial disparities in our country. I mean, that is basically wokeism in itself, and it's promoting CRT. That's a promotion of DEI, the same type of nonsense that you hear people who are promoting DEI and CRT. Look, George Floyd death, Michael Johnson hopeful that protests will spark change. So, what, he was in support of these protests? Sure looks like it. Look, people didn't vet this guy when they selected him to become Speaker of the House. They did not vet him. You can pull it up. There's a video clip of him. I posted it on Twitter not too long ago. We'll get it pulled up and you can see it. Speaker Mike Johnson, George Floyd. I believe we have it here. We're going to pull it up for you right now in a Zoom meeting. Somebody said, I've never heard of Johnson, and I've been studying all that in politics day in and day out for over a decade. How can that be? Because he's a deep state plant. We got the clip. All right, we're going to play this clip so you can see for yourself how Mike Johnson seems to think that George Floyd is a victim. I don't know. Look, I vet people very, very thoroughly. And from day one, I said that I was against Mike Johnson. And people were attacking me and saying, oh, you need to give him a chance, Laura. You need to give him a chance. No, I don't want to give any of these people a chance, okay? I don't like these people. I don't like any of them. And that's my prerogative. I don't need to like you. I don't want to be friends with these people. I don't like them. I think that they're all awful, terrible people. All of them. I really honestly can't think of any of them that I like. And that's on them. That's not on me. None of them do their job. They all break their promises. They're all full of shit. And I think that we would just be better off without any of them. Go ahead and play the clip.
The issue of George Floyd's death on the minds of lawmakers today on Capitol Hill during a Zoom meeting.
Congressman Mike Johnson, the ranking member of the House Judiciary Subcommittee on Constitution, Civil Rights, and Civil Liberties, delivering the opening remarks.
The tragedy's focused a spotlight once again, as you said, on the deep-seated problems we still have in this country. I think all of us agree the crisis necessitates authentic reconciliation and transformative solutions for systematic change. And I think we all agree that those are long overdue.
It's just unbelievable. That's not the kind of, that's not what you want to hear. That's not what you want to hear from a Republican Speaker of the House. It's a disqualifying statement as far as I'm concerned. I think we have a caller on the line soon. We have a caller? All right. Hello, thanks for calling into Loomer Unleashed. Who's this?
How exciting. This is Jim from Florida.
Oh, hey, Jim. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. I think you're onto something with this Mike Johnson fella. I had never heard of this guy before he became the speaker. It's almost as if, I wonder if he was using his son to like get rid of his enemies, like keep him kind of in politics. And I mean, clearly the guy's a gangster, right? And he's a lawyer.
Who, the son?
Mike Johnson's a lawyer, and then he has a gangster son. The son, yeah. What if he's like his like body man? He's like Hitman or something.
I don't know about that. It sounds a little out there, honestly, but it just sounds a little strange. But it is really weird that he would call him a son, and then that this guy, what does he do? Like let him live with his kids when he has a rap sheet? So the Johnsons say that they mentor this guy, and then he still has like a recurring record while he's living with the Johnsons and their biological children. It just seems kind of bizarre. Like, if he's your son and you've kind of, like mentored this kid, why is he involved in drugs? Why does he have a rap sheet? I don't know. It's very weird. I did not know about this until the comments, but this is why I really love the comment section. Let's see what people think about it in the chat. Someone in the chat said, dude, you are out there. Yeah, I don't really know if I'm going to like subscribe to that. I mean, this whole idea that he's like a hitman, I don't know. I think that's a little wacky, I'll be honest with you. But I do think it's really weird that, he has this criminal son, but it's not even his son.
Well, think about it from this. Doesn't it reflect poorly on their like role as mentors and like parents? And again, this man's now in charge in the house.
It does. But to say that is a lot different than saying, oh, he's a hitman. I think you got a little overexcited there, Jim.
I think you're right. You're right. I should temper myself a little bit. It's just they're really bad parents, is what they are.
Yeah, I would just say that it's more of a testament to bad parenting than him being some kind of like secret hitman.
Well, thank you so much for letting me call in.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for calling in. Trump1 said, "I do not trust no one. I trust my gut feeling." Yep, trust no one. Someone said, I live in Florida 7, and I couldn't be more pissed about the NDAA vote from the Florida representatives and senators. All effing garbage. Yeah. And it was a ton of Republicans from Florida also who voted in favor of this. As I said, you had Michael Waltz, and this guy wants to be governor. He's going to try to run for governor in 2026, and I'm not going to let him forget what he did today. I'm not going to let him forget it. You guys... The line to call in, it's 772-634-3560. If you want to call in, please call in. Again, that's 772-634-3560. Be sure that you call in. Somebody said, Laura, you and Kash will be part of Trump's administration. Maybe. We'll see. We will see. Somebody said, Mike Johnson is a fake. Look at his stupid hair. Hope his son doesn't become a chef for the Obamas. Oh, my God. You guys are so funny. Somebody said, will you interview Pam Geller? Absolutely. I actually used to do some work for Pam Geller back in the day. Somebody said, I'm surprised at Michael Waltz. I'm not. Michael Waltz gave Daniel Webster money to use against me when I ran for Congress in District 11. And so Michael Waltz was actually on my ballot because he's technically my congressman. And guess what? I didn't vote for Michael Waltz because I don't vote for people that give money to rhino opponents to use against me. And then when I was at an event and I confronted Michael Waltz about this, he played dumb and pretended like he didn't know what I was talking about. He goes, oh, I didn't know about that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that I signed off, even though it's my money. I didn't know that I signed off on giving thousands of dollars of donations to your opponent, my friend Daniel Webster, who you're running against. He just pretended like he didn't even know. Oh, I don't know that you're running. Yeah, you definitely do know because you were redistricted into my district. So again, it's like all these people, they're just so full of shit. And then when you confront them to their face about it, they pretend like they'd have no idea what you're talking about. And so, yeah, that's a funny story. I don't care if Republicans are on my ballot. If I don't like you, I'm not voting for you. So I left the slot blank for the congressional representative and the gubernatorial representative as well in 2022 because I don't like Ron DeSantis. I can't stand him, and I can't stand Michael Waltz. So I didn't vote for them. They were both on my ballot. I said no. I didn't vote Democrat, and I just left it blank. I don't vote for people I don't like. I'm not going to be forced to vote for somebody just because they have an R next to their name. I refuse to do it. Somebody said, I'm pissed that my representatives voted yes on NDAA. Why didn't Mike Johnson do a press conference and explain to us why he agreed to sell out deal? Because he's hoping that you all forget about it, okay? Because today they are going on vacation for another 3 weeks, and they're not coming back until I think like January 4th or January 5th, something like that. So, yeah, they don't care. Why would they? Why would they have a press conference just so they could get grilled by people or have to address what they just did today? They're hoping that everybody's busy with Hanukkah and Christmas shopping and that people are just going to forget about it, and that's that. That's why they do these big votes right before. That's the reason why they do the NDAA vote right before Christmas every single year, because they want to slide in all their garbage and they want to slide in all this sneaky financing for things like Ukraine, like they just did today, and the extension of FISA. That's why they do what they do. We're going to take some more callers, and we have, I believe, one more advertiser read as well. We have Steve from Florida who wants to talk about Mike Johnson. Steve, are you on the line?
I am. How's it going?
Good. How are you? Thanks for calling in. What part of Florida are you calling in from?
I live in Castleberry, Florida, Central Florida.
Okay, great.
Yep. Just listening to the show tonight, and you guys talking about Mike Johnson. I'm actually American Patriots for God and Country in the chat room. I always put my name out there, though, as well. So my name is Steve Baldessari. I don't hide behind the alias or anything like some.
That's great.
But anyway, yeah, the reason I called in was to talk about general tyranny, the threat of China, all the wars in the world, and Mike Johnson and his I don't know, it just seems to me like, as a guy who's paid attention to politics day in and day out for like a decade, who's been cancel cultured by the left from my corporate America job and left for broke and dead, essentially, I'm in danger of losing my house potentially. Now, that I would have kind of seen his name as a more prevalent name in the news feed. You know what I mean? I never really heard of him, which it doesn't mean that like he wasn't known of maybe to some people out there, right? But I heard the previous caller also mention that he hadn't heard of him, and I just thought that was interesting. But, you know, along those lines, it's like, all right, so they're having trouble filling the seat. Everybody they always want to fill the seat with for Speaker of the House is a rhino. McCarthy is a Democrat. He's a wolf in sheep clothing.
And
everybody
Tom
knows
Emmer,
that.
let's not forget about Tom Emmer. And who's awfully quiet about all this too is Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene. They don't want to say anything about it. They don't want to say anything about Mike Johnson. And so all these other like pretend MAGA America First representatives like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Hobart, as I like to call her, and also Matt Gaetz.
Well,
What are these
let me ask you this. Why do you think they're fake exactly?
Why do I think they're fake? Because they always have phony outrage, and they talk about how, no more aid to Ukraine and weaponization of government, and yet they pretend to be allies to President Trump, and then they're silent. They're not saying shit today. They're not saying shit about what just happened today. Okay? Yeah, sure.
Well, you know what I think? I think you're right.
Lauren Boebert voted for it, but you should be using your voice to speak out against this. How come there's no motion to vacate for Speaker Johnson? How come? Why not? They're just going to go on vacation for another 3 weeks? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of all these people pretending.
That's a fair point. I love your passion, I have to say. I mean, that's what I think attracts a lot of people to you. I'm the same way. But as a man, I think we come across as a little bit more toxic with our masculinity. You're not masculine, you're just passionate. But when you combine the two, I mean,
would say I'm masculine. I feel like I have more testosterone in my pinky finger.
Don't.
I have more testosterone in my pinky finger than so many of these beta males today. And I don't try to be masculine. Like, I'm very feminine. I like getting my hair done. I got my hair done today. I like doing.
You're not masculine. I didn't want to imply by any means that you're masculine.
But
don't think I meant anything by that.
I think people need to have masculine.
You know what
energy.
I'm saying, though.
They do, though.
Yeah.
They need to, because we're in a fight for our country.
It's a backbone. You need a backbone, is what it is. And you probably have more balls than most of these beta males, to put it bluntly. I agree with you. And that's something that I think we all need to have in this tough age that we're living in.
But you know what's interesting, too, about what you just said? It's like, why is it that, and I don't know how old you are, okay? I'm 30. Have you
41.
Have you noticed that they actually used to teach conflict resolution growing up? And what did they say for conflict resolution? I was just talking to someone about this the other day. I was like, did you notice that people now, they just go online to talk about people and they don't talk to people face to face? I was taught growing up, conflict resolution was addressing somebody face to face and taking your issue face to face. But now, right, you're viewed as like being so aggressive, or they say that you're, like you said, toxic masculinity or unhinged, or they say you're making a scene. And this is how we need our members of Congress to act. They have no desire to have conflict resolution. And you're not going to resolve these issues by just tweeting empty promises to the American people all day. And so I'd have
well, one thing, if I could, I think they conditioned people to be non-confrontational. That's the beta soy boy persona that we're seeing right everywhere. It's like they've conditioned us to be that way. Not me. They didn't succeed with me, but there's others like me, but not many anymore, because it has worked, unfortunately. And you have all these conservative ink people out there pushing the whole video making, and they'll make videos just to stay relevant. And we have some serious problems. And then you go on their shows, you go in the chats, and you try to motivate people to actually stand up and do something that will actually lead to results, instead of doing the same things over and over and expecting different results, which is the definition of insanity. And that makes no sense to be that way. And so I question the loyalty to the cause, so to speak, of these people. Even you see I'm just saying, I like Alex Jones, I love InfoWars, and I love Bongino and stuff, but, the whole pushing to everybody that we're winning right now is a dangerous thing. It's like feeding people the hopium that they want. It's almost like a drug, I think, that people are addicted to.
And that's what I said
and you
today,
got to stop that.
And then you call people out, and you'll call Mike Johnson out, or I'll call these people out. And people will say, I'm unfollowing you. You're too negative. You're so mean.
Yeah, they're crazy people. Don't even worry about them.
And it's
you don't need them anyway. They'll drive you nuts.
I tell these people, I'm like, no, you are being
lied
to. This is a form of emotional gaslighting. Okay? They are professional gaslighters. It's emotional abuse. And everybody now
100%.
in this country is a victim of emotional abuse at the hands of the Republican Party. They are emotional abusers.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like one of these Me Too women and whatnot, but the Republican Party, they are guilty of emotionally abusing and gaslighting the entire GOP base, and we have to call it out because it's abuse. It is abuse. And
well, let's get to the question then. The only thing you need to say is, well, if we're winning, then how come communists just took over the White House in our country? Huh? How come Donald Trump, just saying, I love what Trump did, but how come he stood down when he said he was going to drain the swamp and the deep state was going to be taken care of? This is one of the reasons why I'm not voting for him. I voted for him twice.
Who are you going to vote for?
If you talk about draining this, well, I know I already heard you don't like DeSantis. I do love DeSantis. As a guy who lives in Florida and has seen him in action, I love the guy. I mean, I don't think he's a rhino whatsoever. I actually have seen your interview with Owen Schroyer. I thought it was a well-done interview that you guys had. People should probably watch that interview to get like kind of both sides and all the involved topics that you need to, because nobody's perfect. But I think the donors, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to remember what you said, but the donors always come into play. But there's a lot of bad people who sponsor a lot of good people, and you can't really prevent that from happening. It doesn't mean you have to smile upon it if they're going to give you money. Me, I'd return it personally, and I think DeSantis probably should too, or anybody out there, right, who is getting money from somebody that they shouldn't be, for whatever the reason,
Yeah. At least you're able to be civilized about it, because so many of these DeSantis people are just really unhinged. They are.
Well, that's how I feel about Trump. As a Trump supporter, I went out to the streets, okay? I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It is your show.
No, it's okay. I interrupted you too, so we're even now. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that in 2020, I was out in the streets squaring off with Antifa and BLM, okay? I'm not some guy just talking out my butt here. I'm active. I'm in there. I'm right in their faces with crowds of them around me. They want to fight me. They've thrown punches at me. I laugh at them. I catch their punches and I laugh at them. I say, dude, you're going to come out here and try to act tough. You better be tough. Maybe you got to get some training and learn how to throw a punch, because you're a joke. But anyway, I digress. I was a guy who was out in the streets, in support of Trump and taking those punches and having those discussions and supporting him. And I voted for him twice. I have a video on American Patriots Forgotten Country that's titled the top 5 reasons I'm not voting for Donald Trump again. Now, of course, I'm torn on that, considering everything that we have going on. But just to kind of try to be short here, the 5 reasons are, let's see if I can remember them off the top of my head. But his support for LGBT, okay, as a Christian, I can't approve of that, and I don't like it. He backed down to the deep state. He's still the president of the United States as I see it. Okay. And it's not as I see it, it's as it is. They committed election fraud, and that's a fact. They took this country by storm, by force, without even having gunshots fired. And he said he was going to stop them. And he should have, at that point, called up the militia, like the Constitution says. And he should have, that was the true insurrection, is my point, not January 6th. And that was the second thing. Third thing is his let me see. What was the third, fourth, and fifth? Escaping me at the moment, but it'll come back to me. Sorry about that. But there's a few reasons if you watch that video.
It is what it is. You have your opinion. Obviously, I'm a Trump supporter. I mean, I'm never going to vote for DeSantis. I don't care if he runs again in 2028. I'll never vote for him. But I do believe that Donald Trump has learned his lesson. I really do. I mean, I can't disagree with you in the sense that I agree that there were a lot of bad people around him that were able to get away with sabotaging him, and these were deep state actors. And unfortunately, look, Donald Trump's a very loyal guy, and I think that there were people who he thought were going to be as loyal to him as he was to them, and they screwed him over. And there were a lot of bad actors, and I think that he didn't really know how bad things were when he first got in, but now he does, right? And I think that he has definitely learned his lesson. I think that the legal hell that they put him and his family through has really reinforced the idea that he needs to only be around loyalists. And I'm confident
that's a fact.
I'm confident that when he wins again, that he will stack his administration with loyalists. I think that they're going to go scorched earth. That's just.
Do you think he's actually going to bring these people to justice and make the arrest, or do you think that they're proactively striking on the left?
I think that he's going to, and the people that he wants to bring on, absolutely. I mean, he even said it in his speech the other day. He wants to be dictator for one day. One day.
I heard that.
To clean it up.
Yeah, he wasn't really saying he was going to be a dictator, but that's not even being a dictator.
I know, but they think it's being a dictator,
He's
right?
Trolling them.
He was
I
just
know they
trolling
made
them,
a big deal out of it.
But yeah, he said I'll be a dictator for one day because it's the joke. On day one, they all get fired. That's what he means by I'll be a dictator for one day, because on day one, that's when all of the administration officials are supposed to basically be transitioned.
He better.
But a lot of holdovers were kept, right? And so I think that was a big mistake, and I think Trump now has recognized that as well. That I probably shouldn't have kept these people. I probably shouldn't have allowed the RNC to help me staff my administration, right? I think that he's learned his lesson. And I think that you can see that now in the way that he's embracing a lot of people who otherwise were told by these establishment people, no, don't associate with this person. They're too fringe. They're too radical. And you see now Donald Trump kind of like disregarding a lot of what those people are saying and embracing. I mean, I'm evidence of that, right? They never would have allowed me to get anywhere near Donald Trump in the first administration. I'm not a radical, right? But you see that Donald Trump is now starting to embrace people who are loyalists, right? And he's disregarding a lot of like the lies and the propaganda that are online about his most loyal supporters, because he's realized that people have lied to him. People lied to him.
Well, he's going to have to arrest these people that are criminals. You know, I mean, you hear the media
arrest them, but there's a process. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I do think that there's going to be a scorched earth approach. I mean, look, that's why the media.
Yeah, and this is the concerning part.
Well,
the media has been pushing proactively, though, that they want to push that Trump is going to take down his political opposition, which is exactly what they're doing right now.
How can you call yourself a DeSantis supporter? How can you call yourself a DeSantis supporter if this is what your major gripe is? DeSantis is a former federal prosecutor. He has aligned himself with the deep state in an effort to take out Trump.
So?
Well, he went on MSNBC.
You got to provide proof on that one.
He went on MSNBC not too long ago and said that he doesn't think it's weaponized against Trump. He was saying that
he doesn't think what is weaponized.
The system.
MSNBC.
He went on MSNBC and said he thinks that we'll pull up the clip because I don't want to put words in their mouth. But
I think I've seen the clip.
He got a lot of heat for this because he basically was embracing the indictments and these witch hunts against Donald Trump. So,
well, that's the thing. I totally don't think that's the case. And he's said on countless occasions that he not support it and that he supports Donald Trump and he knows they're targeting it.
He had advanced knowledge of the raid on Mar-a-Lago and he did nothing to stop it.
Well, you know how you said Trump can't make arrests? How could he stop the arrest from happening if he's Ron DeSantis? He could have
ordered the Florida National Guard to completely surround Mar-a-Lago and prevent the FBI from raiding Mar-a-lago. 100%. How come he didn't do that?
Because here's the thing. You're right. I mean, as much as I'm not voting for Trump again, I would fight and die for that man. Because I'm going to just bring it back to the beginning here. As a guy who supported him twice and studied him a lot, okay, I know everything that guy's done. And he's done great things with foreign policy. He kept peace while they were all saying he's going to start World War III. Well, Joe Biden is doing it now. But anyways, he also was great with our border security, with our economy, with energy independence. There's no denying the great positive things he did for our economy. And he's done countless things. Again, we all know he'd do it again. Whether you like him or not, whether you're voting for him or not, that's a fact. So I don't feel bad about the fact that he would get in again.
Yeah.
I'm still here?
Yeah, okay. I can hear you.
Yeah, I thought I got disconnected.
No, I can hear you. Listen, I just think I think that the reality is that there's countless reports. Look, Florida has the highest number of J6 defendants. There's countless videos and testimonies from J6ers in Florida who have said that Ron DeSantis has done nothing to help them. I don't think that Donald Trump is a perfect man. Did he align himself with shitty people in his first term? Yeah, he did. And all those shitty people are now working for Ron DeSantis. What a coincidence, all the shitty people that stabbed Trump in the back are now somehow working for Ron DeSantis's campaign or his failed PAC, right? They never back down. Like who? Aaron Perrine, Matt Walking, Ken Cuccinelli. Ken Cuccinelli, who is on video saying that Trump is the best president we've ever had for immigration and for building the wall, and then went on to go run anti-Trump. Yeah, but he went on to go work for Never Back Down, where they were saying that Donald Trump didn't build the wall. These people are stupid. They're stupid. They are so stupid. And that's why.
Well, I think that this is the most educated conversation that I've had on the topic. I mean, you get a lot of crazies in the chat rooms. I'm just going to say that really don't know stuff, but everybody likes to have an opinion about everything they know nothing about. You know what I mean? And that's a dangerous thing these days. Sometimes people have to learn to listen. My dad always taught me that you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you can listen twice as much as you speak. You know? Yeah. And I think that people got to try that out. Try it on for size for once. But
I agree.
Yeah. No, I think that I should look into those things. I wish I'll take note of those names and look into it. But one thing I'll say maybe in closing, so you can get the other callers and back to the show.
We have the clip here, though. Not to interrupt you, but we have the clip pulled up because I didn't want to just summarize it.
You got to produce the receipt.
So here I have the receipts here. So we'll have the article pulled up too. It's on the computer screen. Pull it up. Zoom up. No, up. Ron DeSantis believes Trump should be excluded from election if convicted in ongoing bogus indictments by Biden regime on MSNBC.
Well, I totally disagree with him on that.
Right.
Okay.
And so
there's not many things I disagree with him on.
I confronted his press secretary about this and asked him, why did you have your boss go on MSNBC and support the weaponization of government? And he ran away like a little bitch and he hid in the bathroom. He literally ran to the bathroom to hide from me because he didn't want to answer my question.
I need to make some connections with people like you so I can do some of the same and I can get a little bit more involved with the, let's call it, the insides of politics as opposed to the outside.
Well,
right?
Get you set
up,
right
now I'm on the outside looking in.
Watch this clip and tell me, are you still going to vote for Ron DeSantis after watching this clip? Play the clip.
And you did say, Governor, at that August debate when the question was put to the entire panel, if Donald Trump is convicted, will you still, and he is the nominee, would you still support him? And you raised your hand. You're a lawyer. You've served in the Navy. You were well trained at the greatest schools. Do you really believe that a man who's convicted of, say, attempting to overturn the 2020 election or taking nuclear secrets back to his beach club, do you actually still, as we sit here today, believe that person should be president?
So I signed a pledge, Willie, and that pledge is what it is. Now, do I think somebody under those circumstances could get elected president? The answer is no. That will not happen. I think that Republican voters will understand that as we get closer to voting. But it would be fatal in a general election. And I don't think the party should nominate in that situation. However, I signed the pledge. I'm a Republican. I don't think it's going to come to that, and I think we'll get the job done like we need to. But the reality is I signed it, and that's what I did.
So you stand by that this morning?
Yeah, when I signed the pledge, I knew you never know what's going to happen. It's a crazy process. People make different decisions, and I think my point of view on it was, I'm participating in this process. I've got the plan to win. We're going to win. At the same time, it's like you can't just take your ball and go home. You can't, on the one side of your mouth, say the country's in decline, Biden's failing, and on the other hand, say, I'm just going to pout if things don't go my way. So that was kind of my rationale for doing it.
I mean, you can't tell me you're actually going to vote for this guy after watching that clip.
No, I think I still am. Here's why. If I could get just maybe 1 minute to hold the floor here, and then I'll shut up and let you hold it as long as you want because it's your show.
But I'm shocked. I'm honestly shocked. I can't believe
No, you'll understand, I think, a little more at the end of the day here, okay? So I don't agree with what he said there. I wouldn't sign any pledge, okay? I'm a patriot, man. And what they did to Trump and what they're doing to all of us is an abomination. It's a desecration of the Constitution. It's a violation of our rights. We know that. They're tyrants. I mean, if you ever follow my channel, American Patriots for God and Country, you'll hear exactly how I feel. I don't mince words. If I had it my way, I think we'd be fighting a long time ago, according to the Second Amendment, according to the Declaration of Independence and how it states we're supposed to, after we've exhausted all other means. And I think that hopium that everyone's getting fed right now it's like the carrot before the donkey, and everybody's chasing it. And it's a dangerous thing because we should have addressed the problem years ago and confronted it like our forefathers would have on the battlefield, honestly, because this is our country and we have foreign and domestic enemies that have taken it over. I'm just saying, I'm not a violent person. I just love my freedom and my country, and they don't have any business taking power over us. As far as I'm concerned, I think America has become cowardly. It has nothing to do with it. That was a sidetrack. Sorry.
Well,
so the 1 minute for the floor.
Like in your closing thoughts really quick though, just explain because for the life of me I can't understand how you can watch that clip and still support DeSantis.
Well, because I can disagree with him on that, but there's 50 other things I agree with him on. I like how he's a Catholic. I mean, I'm a Christian, so he could agree with him with that, but he believes in God. He stands up for God's principles better than Trump.
Does he?
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely,
think he does.
Absolutely.
They said that for his inauguration he had to buy a $20.
You said I'd have 1 minute.
You will. You will. You can reclaim your time. Don't worry. But listen, he said he's a Christian.
Yep.
All of a sudden, but everybody, there were stories that said that he didn't even believe in God. He only is pretending now because he's in Iowa trying to appeal to voters. And there was a big story that came out, and even his own former staff said this guy's a phony.
You live in Florida, right?
They said that they had to buy a $20 Bible for him on Amazon because he didn't own a Bible.
Who said that? There's a lot of people saying a lot of things, but I mean, do we know that's true though?
We know it's true.
All I'm saying. How do we know?
They showed the receipt.
Where's the receipt? Okay.
I'm pulling it up right now. DeSantis.
I mean, I'm all open. I'm all ears. If someone's a faker, man, I will. If I find out beyond a shadow of a doubt, I will absolutely.
We have the
call them out.
DeSantis staffers.
That's what we have to do as people. I'm with you for investigative journalism.
I'm calling them out right now.
Props to you.
DeSantis staffers rush to buy $22 Amazon Bible for his swearing in. Ron DeSantis staff
but what is cheat sheet and what are the sources?
Hurriedly purchase a Bible for the $21.47 Amazon on Amazon just days before the governor's inauguration. DeSantis says he was raised Catholic and has made an effort to appeal to evangelical voters in his bid for the 2024 presidential elections. Told staffers at the time that his family did not own a Bible and appeared to be unperturbed that he did not have one to be sworn into office. A former aide told the news network that, quote, people are typically sworn in on something that is historic. It was profoundly strange that he did not care at all and treated it like it was nothing.
Trump plays the Christian community too, like he's some born again.
That you liked DeSantis. I asked you specifically what your main reason was, and you said that he's a Catholic or a Christian, and he's really not. He's a fake.
So that's why I asked. I said, what is cheat sheet? What's the sources behind the article, or else it's hearsay?
It's not. There was an Amazon. Originally, it was NBC News, and they actually got a copy. They got a photo of the receipt.
NBC? They had a receipt. We're talking about NBC here?
They had the receipt. You could.
I'm just saying.
You have the receipt. Right. They have the receipt that shows.
NBC producing receipts suddenly?
$21. His own former staff.
That's a big red flag.
Former staff. Look,
there's a lot of people talking a lot of crap about Trump saying things too, though, that aren't true.
But they have the receipt. They have the actual receipt. That
all I'm saying is, with everything that I do, I don't just take it flat on its face. I go beyond the surface, right? We all got to look at the sources. We got to make sure. I mean, to the best of our ability. We're never going to know exactly. But if you find out beyond a shadow of a doubt, and that's a fact, then I'm absolutely going to denounce that. And that's a big red flag. I don't like wolves in sheep clothing.
There's a lot of stories written about this, but I'm just telling you that I think he's phony. He purchased his endorsement from Bob Vanderplaats, who says that he's an evangelical leader. You can look at the FEC reports. I did a story about this, and I actually showed the breakdown of the reports. It was $50,000 at one point, and then another $50,000 at another point, almost $100,000. Okay, for this guy's endorsement of Bob Vanderplaats. So the receipt.
Well, let me ask you a question.
What? What's the
COVID-19 was the third of the fifth of the five. I'm sorry, things that are the top five reasons of not voting for Trump. The vaccine. He called
I don't like the vaccine.
The greatest thing in the history of mankind. Yeah. That was Trump's words.
And I don't like it. And Ron DeSantis, Ron DeSantis,
killing people.
Ron DeSantis told every single Floridian to get vaccinated. He vaccinated.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. I have the video on my Twitter account, and I'll find it right now and retweet it.
He said if you want to get vaccinated.
He said
if you want to get vaccinated, get vaccinated.
He said it was 99.9% effective. He said he was honored to personally sign for the vaccines.
Right, but you lived in Florida through this pandemic, like I did. I know you're from Florida, right?
I ran for Congress when I was in.
It wasn't locked down where I was at.
Yes, it was. There's executive orders. Listen. If you want to be on the phone and you're gonna dispute this, you have to understand that there's like actual receipts and documentation that show.
I've lived in Florida for 7 years now. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying you can't dispute that fact. I mean, I've lived it.
You can dispute it though. It was locked down. His own executive order.
Here.
He had an executive
no
order.
lockdown.
Yes, there was.
There was nobody telling me
the executive order right now. We're pulling it up. This is ridiculous.
I wasn't locked down. I'm just saying that
I was threatened by a police
officer. There were businesses that did things that they shouldn't, that he should have cracked down on more, because he promised that he was going to go after any businesses that tried to infringe on people's rights by way of masks and vaccines and their mandates. But so he could have done more of practicing what he preached on that issue. But I was not locked down. And when I had a lot of issues confronting businesses, but
right there. We're pulling it up right now. Okay. Listen,
it wasn't like New York and California, or Massachusetts by any means. And he was leading the way. I mean, everybody remembers all the heat he was getting for standing up for freedom. Everyone was even moving to Florida because there was more freedom here, and they got tired of this
issued
liberal
an executive order that will reduce density and crowds in restaurants, bars, nightclubs, and beaches to mitigate the spread of COVID. He issued executive orders. This is from his own website. Are you going to tell me that this is not like a legitimate receipt now because it comes from his own website?
But is that locking you down? I mean, I don't think that's the right move either. I'm with you.
There was a point in time, you can pull it up online and see for yourself, that we had checkpoints. Ron DeSantis actually locked
Well, this is a good conversation either way you look at it, right? This is the conversation that America needs to be having, right?
Well,
These things, this is exactly what we all need to do.
We are having the
it's
conversation, and that's why Trump is over 50 points ahead of Ron DeSantis, because we've had the conversation. Look, Ron DeSantis...
Do you know what, though? Trump is an entertainer, man. He's a smart man. He's a great businessman, and he knows what he's doing to get the audience pulled in. So props to him for doing that successfully. But it's also, I think people have grown to be so defensive about anybody who says anything about Trump, because we've had to defend him for so long against everything and everyone, and rightfully so, for the most part. I mean, I just feel like he was a better conservative prior to COVID-19.
Look at this. Coronavirus in Florida. Ron DeSantis announces second highway checkpoint, okay? He literally blocked people from coming into Florida, okay? We also have a video of Ron DeSantis telling people to get vaccinated. So we can play that clip right now, too.
Does everybody remember all over the news how we were propping up DeSantis for doing a great job in Florida, and he was like what the nation was looking to? Why was that, though?
I hate Ron DeSantis.
No, there was a reason for it. Why do you hate him? I think him and Trump should friggin' unite and make peace. I don't understand this.
Because
it's ridiculous to me.
Not only do I hate him for being disloyal to Trump, but I hate him because he allowed for big tech to get away with illegally interfering.
That's like parroting Trump, though. Like, you know what I mean? Trump's always saying that.
To illegally interfere in my election. But listen, look, it's been a great conversation. Yeah. I have to get on to other calls, and I have to get
I'm sure.
But it's been great. We've had a nice debate. We're respectful. I appreciate you you calling in. I really appreciate it. And look, you can
give me a call anytime, Laura. We can talk offline if you want to.
All right.
I'm single and ready to mingle, baby.
Alrighty.
That wasn't really the normal way to approach it, but I have no time left. So
because I'm a Trump supporter.
No, we'd have a lot of heated conversations, but we'd fuel each other intellectually. It would be great.
No, because I'm a Trump supporter. I don't know.
All right.
It's just like really important to me.
Take care.
Well, we'll see.
It was a nice conversation. I'll be in the chat.
Nice conversation.
All right.
Thank you. Thanks for calling in. That was a nice conversation. Also, by the way, well, we're gonna get to our next ad break really quick. So, and then I'm gonna show you something really exciting that I got in the mail today. So. The next sponsor I want to thank for obviously supporting my show and supporting free speech is Tax Network USA. That's Tax Network USA. As many of you know, the October 15th tax deadline recently passed, and I know that many of you might be feeling the pressure. So if you're sorting through the complexities of expense tracking, estimated payments, and all of those deductions, it may have caused you to file late, or maybe you still haven't filed and you're in violation with the IRS and you have a tax debt. But don't worry, because the team over at Tax Network USA has a track record of success for having reduced tax debts for numerous clients, totaling over $1 billion. So whether you're looking at a $10,000 debt, or maybe you have a $1 million dollar debt, they can definitely help you out with a settlement. And so you can go to taxnetworkusa.com. It doesn't matter if you haven't filed your taxes in 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, or an entire decade. Okay, their team is equipped to help get the best settlement for you. They have expert attorneys, and the tax professionals over at Tax Network USA can help you resolve all tax cases, no matter how your tax debt started. And so you're going to want to act on this soon. Again, you want to visit taxnetworkusa.com/Loomer. That's taxnetworkusa.com/Loomer. Let them know that Laura Loomer sent you. So, as you know, I have 2 dogs. I love my dogs. We're going to pull the photos up again of my dogs, okay? Everybody knows I have 2 dogs. I have Mecca, my Yorkie poo from China, and Loomer, my bulldog. And these little dogs have become quite internet famous, I suppose. And I have this really amazing supporter. I don't know if he's listening tonight or watching, but oh, look at my baby. So just put the photo up there. Don't put the tweet. They're going to pull up the photo right now. We're going to pull up the photo, and then you can see for yourself my babies. Anyway, one of my supporters, his name is Gary, and Gary follows me on X and watches my show. And Gary sent me such a nice gift, you guys. Look at this. So go back to Mecca's face and look at the intricacies in her face, and look at Loomer. Look at this. Gary made me a wood carving by hand of Mecca. It looks just like Mecca. He asked me for a photo of her. This is one of the photos of Mecca. And look at that. It's so great. It's so perfect. It looks just like Mecca. We're going to pull that photo up on the screen and you can see it. But I got this in the mail today, and it's just such a thoughtful gift. He literally hand carved the photo of Mecca. Look at that. It's her. And then he said he's working on one of Loomer as well, but he wanted to know how I liked Mecca first. And so, he also gave me a hand carving that he made for me of Donald Trump. And he does these by his hand. He actually carves it into the wood. You have to be super talented to do this. So I just thought it was so amazing. I wanted to give a shout out to Gary because I thought it was one of the most thoughtful gifts. And he reached out to me when my dog Loomer was sick, and he said he wanted to do something nice for me and send me a gift, and so he did. And I wasn't expecting to get a carving of Donald Trump either, but we're going to hang this up, and we're going to put the Trump wood carving that he sent me today, and also the carving. But it's really creative the way he does this. He has a black piece of paper in the back, and then carvings on the front, and yeah, just amazing. Really talented. Donald Trump, and then my Mecca. So thank you to Gary. Thank you so much. You can see the photo up there. Go full screen. My babies. Oh, that was a photo that we took. They're so cute. I love them. And now I get to have my little wood carvings of them in my office, so I get to look at them all the time. You see, Loomer thinks she's a lap dog. Look at me. That was me laying on my couch. Look at Loomer. She's like 65 pounds, and she just jumps on me and sits on me and squishes me. And Mecca too, but Mecca can do that. She's 10 pounds. It's always the big dogs that think that they're like, so much smaller than they actually are. So this is really a beautiful gift, and I really appreciate this, Gary. So thank you so much. Very thoughtful. I have the most thoughtful supporters. Anyway, I think we're going to go to the chat for a couple last-minute questions. So we had some really nice callers. We had Steve. That was a really nice call. Look, he's a DeSantis supporter. I'm a Trump supporter, but we had a nice conversation there. But look, DeSantis 100% locked down the state of Florida. Someone said, oh, Matt. He goes, the guy that makes all of the Loomer rap videos. You can tell none of these people have had an iguana, and it shows. Thank you, Matt. Do we have any other super chats? Let's see. Thank you to everybody that sent in chats. Brunson Brothers case. Let's see. Let's read the comments. Scrolling down all the way to the bottom. Oh, scroll up. Laura. Oh, wait. They didn't like the last caller. He was nice, though, you guys. He was polite. We didn't like the Never Trumper stuff, but some people were like, hang up. That guy's a liar. No, look. A lot of the DeSantis propaganda is real. It really fooled a lot of people into thinking that this guy really did keep Florida open. And so we're here to inform people. And he was friendly, and, you know, hopefully he comes to his senses, and hopefully he'll come to his senses and support Trump. Let's see, what else? You're an ass for... Oh, someone said you're an ass for making a play on Loomer. Someone's getting jealous. Someone said, super cool for that guy Gary to send it to you. How sweet. Yeah, isn't that so nice? Let's see, Gary, scroll up. Okay. Mecca from China, ha ha ha. Yeah, my dog was rescued from a Chinese meat market. She really was. True story. Scroll down. That was the comment from the guy in the chat. American Patriots, Forgotten Country. I wasn't talking over her any more than she was. It's called having a conversation. Yeah, you guys, look, we disagree on DeSantis, but he was nice. He was polite. We were both, you know, we were both talking over each other. It's fine. It's all good. Look, people can have differences in opinion. I think that people are kind of out of their mind for not voting for Trump, but if you're respectful, fine. You know, like, he's respectful. If he doesn't want to vote for Trump, that's his prerogative. I think it's stupid. I think that DeSantis is a phony, but he's entitled to his opinion. We can disagree, and at least he was respectful. So I don't like Ron DeSantis, but I appreciate him being respectful when he called in. It's fine. Let's see. Someone said she's flustered. Yeah, because I just played that clip, you guys. I played the clip that said that my #1 priority is Donald Trump right now. Putting me on the spot. God, everyone's trying to flirt with me on air. I'm shy, you guys. Don't you remember what Trump said about me? I'm shy. I'm too shy. I'm too shy for you to flirt with me on my show. Any more questions? I'm reading all your comments. I read all your comments. Somebody's spamming the chat right now. We'll get that modded. Someone said, oh, let's go back to that. Mike Johnson gets donations from our employees to spend money we don't have. Yeah, that's all these people do, is they spend money that we don't have. DeSantis hates Ken Paxton. That's true. He was campaigning with the guy, Dade Felon, Drunk Dade as I like to call him, the guy who tried to initiate the impeachment against Ken Paxton. So, absolutely. Someone said, I'd love to see you as Trump's White House spokesperson. We'll see. Who knows? You never know. A lot of people say that these days. You never know. Somebody in the chat said, Laura, join Salty Cracker on Rumble. I don't know how I would do that right now. Somebody said, did I miss Kash? Yes, if you missed Kash, Kash was in the beginning. And so you can go back and you can watch that. And so we've been on for about 3 hours now, exactly. So it's been a really great show. And hopefully you guys, if you're just joining now, be sure that you retweet the link and that you share it on all your socials, because even after the fact, even now that the show's come to an end, you can still go back and watch that amazing interview with Kash Patel and catch up on the story. But in the meantime, please be sure, too, that you're following me on Locals. You can go to loomer.locals.com, and at the bottom of my Rumble page, you can click Get Loomered. That's how you can support my work and sign up for my Locals. And all you do is you click Get Loomered, you click Support, and you can subscribe either monthly for $7 a month or annually $70 a year, or you can also click to just donate once as well. And that's, of course, how you can support my independent investigative journalism, so that I can continue bringing all of these reports. Also, be sure that you download the Rumble app and that you're following me at Laura Loomer on Rumble so that you get notified every single time I go live. Every Tuesday and Thursday. Next Tuesday, we're supposed to have Rick Grinnell on. Rick Grinnell is going to come on the show, so that will be really interesting. We had Kash Patel. Look, you heard it out of Kash's mouth tonight. He said that my show now is such a rager in the MAGA world. It is, and we are making the news every single week. President Trump has shared episodes. He shared clips from Loomer Unleashed. We've broken really impactful stories that are playing a serious role right now in the political debate around our country. And so be sure that you download Rumble. You want to make sure that you download the app. It's free, and that you save you save it on your phone, download the app, and then follow me at Laura Loomer. And then, of course, you're always going to get notified. Additionally, be sure that you're following me on X and True Social and Gab and Getter at Laura Loomer so that you never miss all of my daily social media posts. But it's been a long day, you know. It's been a long day. I'm going to go have a funeral tonight for our country as I, who knows, maybe I'll cry myself to sleep over the fact that the Republicans just sold our country out and completely shredded the Fourth Amendment and sent $600 million more to Ukraine. It's kind of sad, but I guess that's what happens, right? They just they're always selling us out. That's the unfortunate part about this, is that they just don't seem to have the priorities in line to understand that if Trump doesn't get back into office in 2024, we're going to lose our country. We're going to completely lose our country. But hopefully people start taking it seriously. Because if they don't, we're going to lose this country, and that's it, you guys. This is our last chance. So I hope that everybody watching understands how serious and how much of a screw up it was today, and how treacherous it was for the Republicans to vote in the age of weaponized government when we only have a 1-seat majority right now in the House to expand FISA. But with that, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, download Rumble. Follow me on Rumble at Laura Loomer. Follow me on all the socials at Laura Loomer. And with that, I hope all of you have a wonderful night. And I will see you next Tuesday for episode 17 of Loomer Unleashed. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time.
There is a young female journalist, conservative journalist, by the name of Laura Loomer.
If America's men acted like Laura Loomer, our problems will be fixed in about 5 minutes.
Chained herself to
She
Twitter.
chained herself.